my choice of word right there. But we continue to monitor this story, and we'll certainly be sharing with you details of that. Now, away from that, we're also looking at Parliament that has rallied support for Ambassador Olara Otunu, and this is in the bid for him to be the top boss at the United Nations General Assembly. It is a very interesting approach in terms of how Uganda has decided to rally support or lobby for support. There you have it, the Organization of African, Pacific and Caribbean Countries. They are looking to relocate from Brussels. Well, according to the Right Honorable Jacob Maxons Oboth, he says Uganda offers more incentives if they were looking at a country where perhaps this secretariat should be located. But alongside that conversation of the incentives, well, he was quick to slide that conversation in, as well as the Deputy Speaker, the Right Honorable Thomas Taiyewa, making a case for the countries to rally support for the Ambassador Olara Otunu. And hopefully it is one of many proactive approaches to make sure that Uganda has some fair chances right there from these entities or from these organization groups that already are running center stage in some of the African, Pacific, and of course Caribbean countries. Are we able to cross over with that kind of approach to Europe, to Asia, and what will it yield? It is a tight race, but we certainly hope that Ambassador Olara Otunu sails through. He is, if you ask, the most qualified in terms of experiences, but there certainly will be a lot more at stake in terms of how Uganda continues to lobby. That is a timeline between now and the 31st of December, when Antonio Guterres will be ending his tenure as the Secretary General right there. But for now, we want to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll also be looking at what the top stories are in the world of sport with Premier Sport this morning. So do stay with us.
Some moments make headlines, others quickly shape our nation, but every moment matters. This August, step into Uganda's story through the eyes of one of its finest visual storytellers. Through the Lens is back. Bigger, bolder, more compelling than ever before. This August 7th, 2026. Witness the defining moments that shaped our nation, from the intensity of the 2026 general elections to the strength of our communities, the beauty of our culture, the courage of our leaders, and the resilience of our ordinary Ugandans whose stories deserve to be seen. Every frame tells a story. Through the Lens, Season 2. Experience Uganda's stories, one frame at a time. How to protect yourself from misinformation on social media. Verify the claim. Search for the story. Use a search engine to see if reputable news outlets are reporting the same thing. Check fact-checking sites. Use platforms like Dismiss Fake News to verify the claim.
ukutahamwe mitwareta VIP mitwaro 20 debos a miliyoni 3 hamwe na nitane z'abamazireyo kumanya bukitiraho tera 0 50 50 nkaga ninda ishagicirwe.
The world is is going digital, and creativity is no longer just a passion, it's a pathway. Next Creator is building dignified job opportunities for young people by turning creativity into real careers. It's about more than just content. It's about learning digital skills that lead to sustainable income, branding yourself with confidence, understanding influence and the digital economy. Next Creator equips young creators with the tools they need to grow, adapt, and thrive in a fast-changing world. If you want to turn your ideas into opportunities, if you want to make creativity work for you, this is where you start. Next Creator, your skills, your future, your opportunity.
August 2026 is here! And Yada for Life presents Mujatu Sinze 2026 Nsima Edition on Saturday 29th August 2026 at Imperial Royal Hotel with a lineup of heavenly voices and ministers. Are you grateful to God for what He has done and accomplished in your life? Do you have a reason to ultimately thank God for? Get your deluxe ticket for 30K, gold for 50K, platinum for 100K, and the table at 2 million. Doors open at 4 p.m. Buy your ticket at Unique Uniforms, Uganda House, and at House of Rest, former Fidodido. For bookings and reservations, call 0760-595-316 or 0708-766-536. Mujatu Sinze 2026 Nsima Edition, and proudly sponsored by Yuga Tunes, Afro Mobile, and Yuka TV, and NBS Music.
Remember the songs that made you sing, the moments that made you dance, the voice that captured a generation. Now, Grace Nachimera is back on stage. Join us for the Power of Grace Live Concert, a spectacular evening celebrating the music, the memories, the journey, and the incredible voice that has inspired audiences for years. Friday, 11th September 2026 at Kampala Serena Hotel. Alibud tickets 130,000 shillings, ordinary 150,000 shillings, and tables 3 million shillings. The Power of Grace Concert is sponsored by
okwagala okugatta omutino ku music ewaffe ow'obuwangwa naddala kadongo kamu n'okumuggulira akatale ak'omulembe aka digito. Airtel Uganda ne Uganda Communications Commission bakutuusaako atakula bakunyooma. Gold is gold. Bakabi abagikuba nga 3 mu July ku Sheraton Gardens wano mu Kampala. Freddy Sebata, Dani Mugula, Matia Luyima, Miss Sara Sega Mwenge, Kakubirizi, Wile Mukabya, Masias Warukaga, Freddy Sebare, Gerard Kiwewa, Jigiri, Kasiba Kapo, Harriet Sanyu, Nabitaka, Betty Nabulia, Aisha Nachito, Bonamu, atakula bakunyoma. Okwingira shinje mtwalo 10 vyepye mtwala biyate meza ya milioni 3. Gula tiketi yo okuba ku Airtel Money, ku CBS FM, ku Papa Sport, ku Jod Kala Solutions paka last machinye. Na ku Sheraton Hotel wanyeni, Sheraton Gardens a 3 mu July. Tutandika sawe mu yakawunge. Yanyeni kati ngono obera wa. Wagidwa, UCC, Roscom, Mavet, Afro Mobile, Nesanyuka TV. Ne
Airtel.
Patoro de bitegekebwa. Balunya promotions.
Many thanks for keeping it NBS Television and for joining us this morning on NBS Morning Breeze. Time for some sports update with Premier Sport this morning. Andrew Kabura, very good morning. Many thanks for joining us on NBS Morning Breeze. I could not tell you just how proud I am every time that flag goes up. It is just sheer emotions. I am one of those people who just, oh, look at me. But the Gazelles, I mean, for a debut to have silver, am I the only one thinking we'll take gold the next time we show up?
Well, good morning, Tracy. Thank you very much for joining us. You're right. The Gazelles have absolutely done fantastic in a version of basketball that is still, in many ways, new to the Ugandan fraternity, the 3x3. So we do congratulate them. But the She Cranes have as well done a fantastic job out in Glasgow. So have the boxers and the swimmers. To be honest, it's a completely different level. And for us, from a Ugandan perspective, I do believe success looks like representation at the moment, picking up experience and looking to do well at the next international meets. But don't worry, we have more updates coming your way from the Commonwealth Games out in Scotland this morning. Welcome aboard. This is Premier Sport. I'm Andrew Kabura. I've got Sarah Yahweh. I've got Anesta Koreberunji with me for the analysis this morning. And we are going to start off exactly with what has been happening at the Commonwealth Games as Team Uganda look to wrap up their participation. It's all about the netball national side, where the She Cranes wrapped up their Commonwealth Games Group B campaign with an impressive 65-56 victory over Scotland at the Hydro Arena in Glasgow, setting up a 5th place playoff against South Africa. Now, the world number 6 side ended the group stages with 3 wins and 2 defeats. Uganda registering victories over Scotland, Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, while falling short against the world number 2 New Zealand and Australia. The clash against South Africa now presents an opportunity for the She Cranes to replicate their memorable performance at the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games, where they claimed a 54-48 victory. Of course, Uganda will once again look to experienced stars like Irene Eyaru, Mary Nuba, Shadia Nasanga to lead the charge. Big game coming up against South Africa, but Sarah Yahweh, more importantly, a huge result against the hosts.
Yes, you're talking about key players to look out for ahead of that fixture against South Africa, but also Mary Nuba scoring 46 of 55 goals yesterday. She's been our star, she's been our go-to for the She Cranes, and I know they're going to use her so much as they look to prepare for the South African game. This game was too easy for the She Cranes, but that's because they did all their work early in the first half, leading by 36-22. When you look at the third quarter and the fourth quarter, Scotland actually outscored She Cranes in the fourth quarter. The third quarter ended 16 goals all. So if they hadn't done their work early in the first half, one would say maybe it was going to get closer. But because of what they'd done in the first half, it looked like the third quarter and the fourth quarter didn't mean so much. Mary Nuba has been very key, as you can see, so dominant. She is the tallest netball player at the Commonwealth Games. We'll be looking to her, the She Cranes will be looking to her and her experience and her versatility inside that small paint to get the job done against South Africa.
Will be a big one against South Africa as Uganda's netball continues shining on the international scene. Now we move away from the court and talk about the track this morning, because Uganda's 2023 African Road Cycling Champion Charles Kajimu says he's ready to embrace a new challenge as he competes in the men's 4,000 meters individual pursuit at the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome. Having arrived in Scotland early to acclimatize and train on the track, Kajimu believes the preparation has given him confidence despite Uganda's limited track cycling facilities. Kajimu, who made history as the first Ugandan to finish an Olympic road cycling race, will also compete in the men's 10,000 meters time trial tomorrow.
You know, one of the things about this sport is it's not about the athletes, it's those images on your screens. Those bicycles are expensive. We're talking about $10,000 or more. And that's what Charles Kajimu is going to be working with. It's a very, we could say, elitist sport. Not every day you get to hear someone riding a bicycle at that cost. Here in on this part of the world, we're used to the roadmans and roadmasters, which cost a few thousand shillings. But this is a very expensive sport. Charles Kajimu has broken a glass ceiling for which Uganda looked like it was a class away from us. He did well at the African Games. From there and went to the Commonwealth, to the Olympic Games in Paris, where he competed and carried Uganda's flag as one of the very few Africans that were in that road race. Now, Charles Kajimu is a road racer. The Commonwealth Games are going to be done on the track at the Velodrome. It's going to be a new ball game for him. But like we've been talking about Charles Kajimu's career as a cyclist in Uganda, it's about showing that it's possible. He goes out there. Every event that he goes to is an opportunity for him to better his best, and we're looking forward to seeing what he will do against an elite field of cyclists at the Commonwealth Games. All right, we are looking out for that. Let's quickly now talk some athletics this morning, because Esther Chebet endured another heartbreaking near miss after finishing 4th in the women's 5,000 meters final, despite producing a lifetime best performance. Now, the Ugandan crossed the finish line in 14 minutes, 50 seconds, 70 microseconds, shaving valuable seconds off her previous best, but missing out on a medal by just over a second. Australia dominated the race, with Jessica Hall taking gold and Rose Davis claiming silver after adding to the 10,000 meters title she won earlier on in the games. Scotland's Megan Keith delighted the home crowd by securing bronze in Glasgow. Chebet's 4th place finish mirrors her result in the women's 10,000 meters earlier on in the games, where she also set a personal best of 31 minutes 55 seconds
and 70 microseconds, but narrowly missed the podium. Her teammates, Joy Cheptowek and Rebecca Chelangat, finished 10th and 12th respectively in the 5,000 meters final. A bit then disappointing from Team Uganda's perspective.
Yep, you'd expect Team Uganda to dominate in these long distance runs, 10,000, 5,000, but all owners have gone to Australia, surprisingly, of all countries, especially this lady Davis to win a double gold, Rose Davis in 5,000 and 10,000. But there's smiles for Team Uganda for a couple of reasons. The first of which is that Esther Chebet set a personal best last night of 1450. But then also Chelangat and Cheptoet also set season best and personal best. So we might not have done well on the international scene, but in the context of Team Uganda and how our athletes are competing this season, this is the best performance that they have put up. The bar might have shifted higher than they are used to, but for a field where we could say rising talents, they have gone out there and given their best in terms of their individual records. Those are the results from the race last night. Hopefully they can build on with this performance, with this experience, with this form of season best and personal bests. They build on from there, and then they can make that qualifying mark for the LA Olympics that starts with next year.
All right, you're watching NBS Sport this morning, coming off NBS Sport, Uganda's only 24-hour sports channel. And now you can catch all the updates, all the shows live on the Afro mobile app. Whichever part of the country or whichever part of the globe you certainly will find yourself in. The Afro mobile app is Africa's biggest platform for authentic content. Whether you're on Android or iOS, whether it's your phone or it's your iPad, you now can access Uganda's sport, politics and entertainment with the comfort of your palm. So go on this morning and download the Afro mobile app. Now, before we wrap up headlines, the Commonwealth Games, which, by the way, come to the end this weekend, and talk everything the National Basketball League. Let's, for now, get back to our top story about the She Cranes wrapping up their Commonwealth Games Group B campaign with that impressive 65-56 victory over Scotland at the Hydro Arena out in Glasgow, and setting up a 5th place playoff against South Africa. Now, Mary Nuba will be leading the charges, but after last night's performance, the girls had something to say to the media, wrapping up their campaign so far and giving us their thoughts on what kind of journey it has been at one of the world's biggest sports meets.
Nisha, first things first, congratulations on making half a century of appearances for the She Cranes.
Thank you.
How does 50 and 51 feel like?
Yeah, it feels great. It's been a lot. It's been a journey. There's been lots of trials and tribulations, a lot of adversity, but also a lot of success and a lot of wins. So yeah, it's been amazing, and I take pride in that. So much pride in that.
Specifically, how would you describe the journey? How has it been like? How satisfied are you that you made this choice?
Yeah, it's been an exciting one. Again, excitement would be the right one to describe my whole journey. But again, I have struggled as a player. I've had good moments. I've also had terrible moments. The most important thing is how well you come across, after all those things. So yeah, adversity is always part of the process. But when you come across on top, then that's the most important thing.
Meme, congratulations on the win after 2 back-to-back losses. Team is back to winning ways. How happy are you about the performance of the team today?
I'm excited today because we came into this game kind of worried because we had the same statistics with them. We had some losses that they've lost and the wins that they've won. So we came in, this was our determinant game, who is number 3 in the pool. So I'm so proud of the girls, and this is a very good step for the girls.
What was key today in winning the game?
We really focused on marking them because they have a strong and quick attacking side. So we came in strong to defend them and stop them disorganizing their goal. And which worked out well, so we substituted and capitalizing on their mistakes because they dropped a lot of balls in the first and second quarter that we capitalized on them and made a lead in the early quarters that took over the game.
Right, that is Ruth Meme, the assistant coach of the She Cranes, speaking to Tuka Bryan alongside Hanisha Mohammed as well. And we are looking for more of that catch-up throughout the show this morning. Now, let's get it back home then as we remind the Ugandans on exactly what to look out for at the Commonwealth Games for today. There you are, a bit of netball at exactly 6 p.m. East African time. And then Charles Kajimu will be in action at 2:29 East African time as well for the individual pursuit 4,000 meters. So look out for that. And in case you miss any of those results, do not worry. Stick to NBS Sport as we shall be giving you every single update from the Commonwealth Games. Now back home, let's talk a bit of basketball this morning because the National Basketball League semi-final playoffs do continue later on today with two crucial fixtures live as well on NBS Sport as the City Oilers and the JT Lady Jaguars now look to wrap up their series and make it to the final. Now, the JT Lady Jaguars do carry a commanding 2-0 lead in their series ahead of Game 3, and they will be in action against the Magic Stormers, while the Oilers, who are the record champions, will be up against Res Life Saints. The Oilers as well, 2-0 up, and everyone is looking at the 10-time champions. Could there be a shocker in either series? Sarah Yahweh.
Listen, I think I got the first one wrong. I think there could be a shocker. We wait to see. But the City Oilers, since those are the pictures we're seeing, they have beaten the Res Life Saints not very convincingly. I will say that for a fact. Game 1, 64-54, 10-point lead. Is that the best of cushions? Maybe not. Game 2, 72-66. The Res Life Saints managed to slice and dice that 10-point lead in game 1 to 6 points. That means that they've learned their lessons. That means they're doing changes. That means that they are adjusting, especially on the offensive end and defensive end. Right. Adrian Ekau in that game 2 almost scored a 30-point piece on the City Oilers. They've not been convincing at all, especially after the additions of Jermaine Roback Jr., the additions of Patrick Rambat, Jonathan Komagom. I still feel like they have struggled. I don't understand what the issue is. Maybe it could go back to the coaching in terms of decisions and rotations that are being made. You felt like the City Oilers should be much, much better than they were in the regular season, especially after the 3 additions of those players. The Res Life Saints will think, you know what? If we're able to get away from the 10 points to the 6 points in game 2, then we have a chance. Then we have an opportunity to cause an upset and maybe force a game 4, see what happens. That could happen tonight. For the JT Lady Jaguars, one would think they've been very dominant against the Magic Stormers. In game 1, it was 77-61, 11 points. In game 2, Magic Stormers managed to dice that as well, 74-64, just 10 points. JT Lady Jaguars have been very dominant. We've been seeing Sarah Ageno, especially for me. I think she has been the most outstanding player on both ends of the floor. Her ability to stretch the floor, take deep shots, have 360 court vision, have her players, all her teammates involved. She is the captain. She has been leading from the front, scoring, rebounding, assisting, and doing everything she has to make sure that the JT Lady Jaguars take the commanding 2-0 lead that they have right now. The Magic Stormers still have everything they have, rather they still have everything they can in their arsenal to get one back. Whether or not that's possible, we wait to see later in the evening. We'll be courtside giving you all of those details, and hopefully we get to see another game 4 like we saw the KC Leopards do the UC Lady Cannons.
All right, we're looking out to that. Tip-off will be 7 p.m. and it's live on NBS Sport, while the Oilers will be in action at exactly 9 p.m. So do join us as we continue championing Ugandan basketball. Let's talk a bit of rugby this morning then, because the 2026 Rujumba Sevens now takes place this weekend at the Kings Park Arena in Bweyo Gerere as the second leg of the now special Uganda Rugby Sevens series officially kicks off with, again, all the action live here on NBS Sport. Now hosted by the Stanbic Black Pirates, the tournament comes with added pressure as the teams look to build on their Stone City Sevens performances. The hosts headline a tough Pool C alongside the Platinum Credit Heathens, the Hippos and the Eagles. As the defending champions of the Rujumba Sevens, the Pirates will be aiming to close the 5-point gap on the series with the Walukuba Barbarians and the Nile Rapids looking for a double.
2 important things to note on this table. The Walukuba Barbarians leading up, having won the first stop. The Stanbic Black Pirates are putting up a chest. Of the teams that won last year, Pirates and the Black Pearls, they are the most likely. If anything, the Black Pearls at the bottom of the table stand close to no chance, given how they've started their season, of defending that title. But for the Pirates, you could say there is an opportunity for them. But in the context of the entire series, this is going to be the very last weekend when we get to see the Uganda Rugby Cranes players and the Uganda Emerging Sevens players featuring for their clubs, because they have a Rugby Africa Sevens event to look forward to. Now, what that means is that teams which have strongly relied on outstanding national team players might be handicapped a bit in the series coming forward. Walukwa Barbarians is not one of those. Perhaps the one player that they might lose is that man in the number 10 jersey, Ivan Bulima. But the other teams, the Buffaloes, the Heathens, the Pirates, even the Cobs could lose some of their outstanding performers who have helped them to do well. It is going to make for a very competitive season, but the teams will now have to look at the depth that they have on their squads. Similarly, we talk about the women's teams. They have started the season with one of the teams who have never won the series leading. Now it is an opportunity for the Avengers, for the Thunderbirds. Maybe you could add the Walukwa Titans to put up a chase against the Nile Rapids.
All right, there you are. The action is coming your way this weekend from the Kings Park Arena in Bweyogerere. So do join us as, again, we champion Ugandan rugby as well. As we look to wrap up Premier Sports this morning, we have headlines Kigali, where Vipers Sports Club suffered a 2-1 defeat to the hosts APR Football Club in their final Sekafa Kagame Cup Group A match at the Amahoro Stadium in Kigali. Now, Mamadou Traore capitalized on a Vipers defensive mistake to give the Rwandese side the lead 19 minutes on the clock before Gaston Mulongo restored parity for the Venoms with a powerful finish in the 38th minute. The APR captain, Watara Jibri, netted the winner just after the hour mark with a diving header, while Vipers' hopes of a comeback were dented when their defender, Brady Kevin, was sent off for a second yellow card later on in the game. Now, despite that defeat, Vipers do finish second in Group A and progress to the knockout stages, while Gor Mahia topped the group after edging Gard Republicain by a goal to nil. And as we wrap up Premier Sport this morning, UEFA, that is the leading body for football across Europe, has voted to boycott all FIFA competitions, including the World Cup, if FIFA proceeds with plans to sell part of its commercial rights to private investors. The European governing body insists the World Cup is not for sale and says no UEFA nations will participate in FIFA events unless the proposal is abandoned. Opposition is growing, with CONCACAF and the Asian Football Confederation also rejecting the plan, increasing pressure on the FIFA president Gianni Infantino ahead of next year's presidential election. So the World Cup is done, but the politics does continue.
This man on the screen, Gianni Infantino, is like Icarus. He got some wings onto his shoulders and arms, glued to it with a bit of candle wax, but flew too close to the sun. His relationship with the United States of America, President Trump and the family is going to be the undoing of what for many can be described as a high-flying campaign or period as FIFA president, trying to reinvent the wheel of the FIFA World Cup. And please take note that there's no mention of the Women's World Cup. It's just mainly the Men's World Cup as the cash cow of FIFA, looking to make as much money as they can. But the federations, especially in Europe, are fighting back. They're pushing back against him because it looks like he's selling the soul of the sport, putting the sport behind the money and people who have commercial interests ahead of the sport. So we wait to see what our own continent, CAF, and our own federations are going to say about what the other federations and continents have said. Asia have released the statement, CONCACAF have released the statement, CAF have said they're going to have a consultation meeting and they'll be letting us know whether they are with FIFA or with the member associations.
All right, so FIFA is looking to create a new commercial subsidiary known as the FIFA Forward Enterprise. Throughout the morning, we shall listen to Gianni Infantino and also look at all the other statements from various confederations. But our focus is still on Glasgow as we look to wrap up the Commonwealth Games. The National Basketball League is live later on today as we focus on the Rujumba Sevens coming your way this weekend as well. Our plan, and our only plan, is to champion Ugandan sport. So do join us by downloading the Afro mobile app right now and catching up with all the headlines with us heading into a very busy weekend. Thank you very much to Sarah Yahweh. Thank you very much to Anesta Kore Birunji. We're live until 10 a.m. Do join us. I'm Andrew Kabura. Good morning, Uganda.
Join renowned Pan-African Bishop Joshua Maponga Marara III from Zimbabwe as the keynote speaker at the 9th Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards 2026 and 12th anniversary dinner to be held on the 29th of August 2026 at Munyonyo Speak Resort from 2 p.m. The theme is honoring the humanitarian legacy of Comrade Rajiv Ruparelia. Book your dinner card now on 0757 342 317 or 0782-342-317. This is the true awakening of African Renaissance. Come, let's rekindle our roots. Africa, don't agonize, organize. Powered by
Reggae live in concert at Kolo Airstrip. Namusambu August. Chefuro Chigenda Kubera. Get Reggae about the biggest Ugandan show. Mustalia Kikompora. Waguru Matara. Screen, stage, ne sound. Ngabiona. The Phenom Records. Singem Tuare Satwe. Arebadi ngo konsa momo. Emitware vili. Jem Tuare tan. Arebadi ngo gzeku momo. Emitware satu. Emeze yabantu mukage milioni 2. Yabantu munana milioni 3. Nyiga kamunyenye mumukaka 5 kamnyenye 20. Otunga tiketi yawe. Reggae. Yata hawasa Uganda namani. Hati ninyetabe mbara. Hababushenyi. Higara. Yantonde. Habeibanda. Rukunjiri. Muije murebo mwana wanyu. Natera. Nat Honda. No shot wagara mwebyani byanyu mate. Ebishagara. Ebishapa stacking. Koranyenye. Kololo Airstrip. Musambu August. Bitegekedwa. Abitex Promotions.
In a digital world, not everything is what it seems. False stories today spread faster than truth, leaving us all wondering what's real. Disinformation misleads, misinformation misguides and spreads confusion and fear. Dismiss, a campaign to help you think critically, question wisely, and verify thoroughly. Join us. Let's build a more informed Uganda, one truth at a time. Dismiss, inquire, verify, confirm. Together, let's fight fake news.
Looking for a household cleaner that truly delivers? Meet Apo, the antibacterial cleaning powder for bathrooms and surfaces. Apo is formulated for 3-dimensional cleaning. It's a scouring agent that scrubs off dirt and stains, a germicide that kills 99.9% of household germs, and it works with water to wash everything away, leaving your bathrooms and ceramics hygienic and sparkling clean. Keep up hygiene standards without breaking the budget. Switch to Apo today. Apo is available at supermarkets and convenience stores countrywide.
But now Uganda moved it chitabanga wo. But you clear process to sako. I really namatuvu. Atuse mukapala kuserena hotel. Ngabiri murumu August. Mushoja atumye. Strong woman. Life. Ufuyile mitwalu 10. Yeye mitwalu 15 kuget. Alebadi mitwalu 10. Ate meza ya milioni 3. Ticket zito ndiwa kupa passport. Kujod Kala Solutions. Na kuserena hotel. Wanyene. Unari namatuvu ya singa mutawaita authentic Uganda rhythms. Kuma ya Afro pop. Gate ngoma ya wana. Nechi dongo. Unari Afrima award winner. Best female artist for East Africa choreography. Irene Namatovu, screen, stage, Namatara, Habiri Murumu August, Serena Hotel, Mwana Watunava Mwerekedeko, Fogo, Karepita Mami Vidye, the strong woman, because the sentence at Chikazi, Tuagarabiana Biakoba, Bimadulo, Joseph Sentence, Wawereza Kusimu Zabademo Chupri Chetan, where is Indara, Wagidua, KCB Bank, Newman Zabakolo Bumpati Party, Victoria University, Euroform, Pepsi, Mount Caleb International School, Bualura, Viniva Logistics, Afro Mobile, Nissan Yuga TV.
Every day at 9 p.m., NBS Live at 9 takes you inside the day's biggest developments, the decisions, the voices, the pressure points, and the people affected. Look out for the breaking updates, live reports, exclusive interviews, expert analysis, politics, business, and the stories shape Uganda and the world. From the corridors of power to the communities feeling the impact. Live at 9 brings the facts, the context, and the questions that must be answered. When clarity, context, and the full picture matter, one bulletin brings it all together. NBS Live at 9.
Yes. Always.
Program lineup. why is trade-off very important? Is first of all, you need to think and talk to yourself. Is what I'm doing as the host of the Imposter CEO podcast very important to me? And why is it important to me? What am I looking out for? Am I going to tell the stories of the different people that I'm going to host for purposes of making impact? So first of all, you have to be purposed. And when you're purposed, then you do what you're entailed to do in a very simple way, but very satisfactory. So most often when we chase careers, we are actually not satisfied. We are not happy. But you're driving the fact that I want to get a certain either remuneration, or I am competing with the environment of what is happening. You know, I've seen Dr. Shamim, she's a doctor. Why am I not a doctor? That's not about being a doctor. It's about what satisfies you, what makes you relevant, and what allows you to be a very influential person. Because when you have influence, then you're touching so many souls by making them be able to believe in themselves and get to another level. So at the time, I'll tell a small story, of course, about my trade-off. Yes. A beautiful job, highly paid, staying in 5-star hotels. And every evening you go to that room alone and you're like, where's my satisfaction here? Yes. You have young growing children, but at the end of the day, that's not where your passion and love is. So I was able to say no. Like I said, you have to let go of others, lose, and then gain. So me, my trade-off was to be able to let go of a very successful job and come back home and look after my children, of which right now I am such a blessed and very happy mother. I totally believe at the time of their stage, that was about 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Yeah. If I had lost being a mother, and a mother to nurture, not a mother to just look after the children. Because yes, you can be a career woman and you're not actually nurturing the children, you're just looking after them. And so that is something I want to encourage women out there, not to stretch so much, but to know that there's always time for everything. And when you trade off, you actually have a blessed life and a beautiful life after. So trade-off means a lot. And you may trade off with pain because, you know, you trade off and you have no job, so then what next? But we all know that we are not born out of nowhere. Yeah. Everyone that is born, like I say in my book, is a CEO of themselves. Yeah. And so you can never fail to get something that will make you have ends met.
On Saturday, August 15, 2026, Radio Wala invites you to celebrate India's Independence Day with a monumental broadcast you cannot afford to miss. The Saturday Wala show proudly welcomes a truly distinguished guest, His Excellency Upender Singh Rawat, the High Commissioner of India to Uganda. Join the phenomenal hosting crew, RJ Raj, RJ Amitesh, Mr. Paresh Mehta and RJ Tarun for an exclusive deep dive conversation on India's incredible journey of independence and the flourishing diplomatic, cultural and economic ties between India and Uganda. Tune in live on Saturday, August 15th, 2026 starting 10 a.m. on Radio Wala and watch it on NBS Live exclusively on Afro mobile app to be a part of this conversation. Don't just hear about history, be a part of it.
Are you ready to experience the ultimate in live events?
Can you sit? Can you sit?
From local to global, we bring you the most exciting events 24/7. Stay informed with live breaking news.
Habemus Papam.
Keep in the know of what's happening around you and beyond. NBS Live. Live and filtered and missable. Exclusively on Afro Mobile.
Are you young, driven, and ready to rise? Do you want to grow your skills, earn from your passion, and change your community? This is your time. This is your tribe. This is Nexters. From high school to universities, from TikTok to your town, Nexters is here to build you up, skill you up, and show you off. Join the Nexters Club, win digital challenges, meet your mentor, turn your hustle into impact, turning passion into purpose, house bundles, and career opportunities. This is not just a movement, it's your launch pad. Be good, do good, be a Nexter. Sign up now, scan the code, visit our portal, or catch us at your school or campus.
It was business as usual in most district in Acholi sub-region in the morning hours. In Waya, by 7:30 a.m., students and pupils were making their way to school like it's not a public holiday. A drive through the villages, there were no signs of election today. As the morning made it to afternoon, slowly the numbers started to build up as Electoral Commission officials began verification of voters in most villages ahead of polls. In many places, voters' names were not in the EC register, and many polling stations were forced to use national identity cards amidst complaints from party leaders.
The truth be told, those people never registered. You see, some people tend to relax over government programs. For example, when we called for registration, people are very reluctant.
I think Electoral Commission did not do enough work to register people. So there are people who just came today to vote. They were not in the Electoral Commission register. And it is creating a bit of tension around the country. That's what I've picked so far. So they are trying to work on it to see if those with the national IDs can be allowed to vote in their villages.
In some places, the election did not take place, an EC plan to set another day for the polls.
About 20%, it had some bit of chaos, but we later settled and the election has gone on. Then the other percentage is where we have failed. It's like about 6 villages so far where the elections have failed. And this one, we are going to consult with the headquarters and maybe we give them another chance.
These celebratory dances and ululation at Ezoa polling station in Pajulu summed up the LOC1 elections across Arua City, where peaceful, jubilant voters replaced chaotic and violent scenes expressed in the previous elections. The Electoral Commission returning officer for Arua City, Osman Ezale, attributes the relatively calm elections to increased extensive awareness and sensitization campaigns that the Commission conducted during the build-up.
Like this place here is one of the hotspots, but people did massive registration. That's why you are seeing so many voters here. So for them, they knew for any leader to be elected here, you must be registered. So they paid attention, and there's no complaint of non-registration of voters.
The presence of the police and the UPDF soldiers in all the 169 polling stations across the city is also identified as a contributing factor for the successful exercise in Arua and across West Nile.
There must always be enough security force, just simply because it's a cosmopolitan area.
However, the widow of the late Arua Municipality MP, Ibrahim Abiriga, lost her election in controversial circumstances.
People who are not in this village, and the ones who are here, they are not registered. They even stopped them from registration. I don't know why. I want a re-election again.
We are NRM. We have gone according to the regulation or the instructions given to us that we must vote. We must vote for NRM candidates. Yes.
As early as 7 a.m., residents had started flocking the polling stations across Tororo district to verify their particulars ahead of the local Council 1 elections, which officially began at 11 a.m. Eligible voters whose names appeared on the register were issued voter slips, and security personnel maintained a strong presence to ensure a peaceful exercise. The high turnout was witnessed in most villages, with many residents describing the elections as a crucial exercise that directly affects service delivery on the grassroots.
Whenever you are what, MP, president, what, councillors, you must vote LC1, because that is the government.
At exactly 11 a.m., voting got underway, with residents lining up behind their preferred candidates in accordance with the Electoral Commission guidelines. In many villages, NRM flag bearers emerged victorious, while several others were declared unopposed.
I've been serving my people here at free cost. I'm not like other LOCs who take bribes and who are corrupt.
Despite the largely peaceful exercise, chaos erupted in Agururu B2 village after more than 500 people reportedly turned up to vote against an expected 438 registered voters. The disagreement over who was eligible to vote sparked scuffles. The confusion prompted both the NRM flag bearer and the independent candidate to withdraw from the race, accusing their other colleague of importing outsiders to participate in the exercise, calling for a fresh election.
Because according to the guidelines of Electoral Commission, it is only the residents who sleep in that village who are supposed to vote. But by the time we were lining, people had come with coupons from other villages.
They imported most of the non-voters from Osukuru, and some of them were hidden in the classrooms. When the lining started, they came out, very many of them.
Elsewhere, the exercise proceeded peacefully, with many candidates elected unopposed. In Muafu village, Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oboth joined residents for the exercise before meeting unopposed candidates, whom he commended for promoting unity, dialogue and harmony throughout the electoral process.
The lining up was really went come to the extreme. But in most places there should be some form of harmony and agreement. And I want to thank the people of my area that most of them have gone unopposed, and this is good for our democracy.
Apart from a few isolated incidents, we have, however, intensified both foot and motorized patrols across the area, the Kampala metropolitan area, to maintain law and order, to prevent any disruptions and ensure the electoral process continues smoothly. We are committed as security agencies to ensuring the entire electoral process proceeds peacefully, safely, and in an orderly manner. We will continue to monitor the situation closely.
Electoral authorities called off LC1 elections in 5 cells across Mbarara City after violence, chaos, and alleged interference by senior political leaders, including members of parliament and city councillors. While voting was generally peaceful in many areas, the exercise started late, with some polling stations opening after 11 a.m. Of the city's 186 villages, 51 LC1 chairpersons were unopposed, leaving voters to elect only the 6 executive committee members.
22 being from north and 29 from south. But still, these ones were required to convene meetings and elect their committee, executive committees, which they have successfully done.
The situation, however, deteriorated in Karugangama cell in Mbarara City South, where rival political camps clashed at the polling station. Several voters were reportedly injured as the confrontation escalated, forcing security personnel to fire tear gas and live rounds in the air to restore order. Mbarara City Returning Officer Violet Atura accused several high-profile politicians of illegally influencing polling stations, intimidating voters, and attempting to influence the election outcome.
And that has really affected us in a way, because when they come down here, the people down get divided.
She said the incidents forced the Electoral Commission to cancel voting in 5 cells.
We are still compiling the list, but as of now, the confirmed villages or cells where elections have been cancelled is Kachika cell, Nyakezi.
The Electoral Commission says fresh elections in the affected areas will be conducted on a later date.
But we are hopeful that we shall have a repeat of those elections when we get communication from our bosses.
Meanwhile, in Ntungamo district, LC1 elections were characterized by delayed voting, high voter turnout, and isolated incidents of tension over allegations that some candidates ferried in non-residents to influence the outcome. Although voting began peacefully across the district's 1,033 villages, disputes later emerged at polling stations in Nyamisha Cell 3 and Uruware, where residents questioned the eligibility of some voters. Security personnel intervened to restore calm, firing warning shots into the air in parts of Ntungamo municipalities' central and eastern divisions to disperse rival groups.
We have like four signatures on the slip. Some are not signed. Ballot, blank slip.
Despite the isolated disturbances, voting proceeded at most polling stations under the supervision of Electoral Commission officials and security personnel.
I'm promising them to work for them.
As early as 7 a.m., residents had started flocking the polling stations across Tororo district to verify their particulars ahead of the local Council 1 elections, which officially began at 11 a.m. Eligible voters whose names appeared on the register were issued voter slips, and security personnel maintained a strong presence to ensure a peaceful exercise. The high turnout was witnessed in most villages, with many residents describing the elections as a crucial exercise that directly affects service delivery at the grassroots.
Whenever you are what, MP, President, what, councillors must vote LC1, because that is the government.
At exactly 11 a.m., voting got underway, with residents lining up behind their preferred candidates in accordance with the Electoral Commission guidelines. In many villages, NRM flag bearers emerged victorious, while several others were declared unopposed.
I've been serving my people at free cost. I'm not like other LOCs who take bribes and who are corrupt.
Despite the largely peaceful exercise, chaos erupted in Agururu B2 village after more than 500 people reportedly turned up to vote against an expected 438 registered voters. The disagreement over who was eligible to vote sparked scuffles. The confusion prompted both the NRM flag bearer and the independent candidate to withdraw from the race, accusing their other colleague of importing outsiders to participate in the exercise, calling for a fresh election.
Because according to the guidelines of Electoral Commission, it is only the residents who sleep in that village who are supposed to vote. But by the time we were lining, people had come with coupons from other villages.
They imported most of the non-voters from Osukuru, and some of them were hidden in the classrooms. When the lining started, they came out, very many of them.
Elsewhere, the exercise proceeded peacefully, with many candidates elected unopposed. In Mwafu village, Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oboth joined residents for the exercise before meeting unopposed candidates, whom he commended for promoting unity, dialogue and harmony throughout.
Voting in parts of Kawempe was marked by delays, tensions and allegations of irregularities, with several residents complaining that their names were missing from the voters' register despite insisting they had registered. By 7 a.m, there was no serious presence of voters at Kawempe Mbogo Playground near Mbogo Mosque, although security personnel had already been deployed. In Chirokore village, tensions rose as residents gathered in large numbers, where the presiding officer held discussions with the 7 candidates in an attempt to resolve disagreements. The presiding officer asked candidates to consider a consensus candidate, citing growing tensions among voters, but only one candidate accepted the proposal while 6 rejected it. As voter verification continued, some residents complained their names were missing from the register despite insisting they had registered. Candidates, including the father of Kawempe North MP Elias Luimbazina Lukola, questioned the Electoral Commission's arrangement, citing discrepancies in the register. The situation escalated when some residents broke through the cordon, separating verified voters from those still waiting, demanding fresh verification before voting could proceed. Voting eventually proceeded with NUP flag bearer Swaib Serugoti losing to NUP-leaning candidate Serunkuma Regan, who was declared winner. In Kawempe Mbogo.
In the small village of Bamtakude in Mukono district, every vote counted. After closely watched LC1 election, the final tally placed Solomon Seranje ahead of Lule Badru by a single vote. Imagine that highlights just how competitive this race was. According to results announced, after voting, Solomon Seranje secured 106 votes, while NUP candidate Lule Badru polled 105 votes.
Lule Badru sozi afuja bulu chikumi tani. Solomon Seranje afuja kalu chikumi mukarabi.
The one vote difference meant that a single ballot determined the outcome of the village leadership contest. The election attracted interest from residents who turned up to participate in choosing the person they want to lead them at the local level. Earlier, during the voting process, tensions briefly emerged at Bamtakude polling station following allegations by some residents about the participation of people whose resident status was questioned. However, voting continued and the counting process proceeded.
Well, a very good morning and thank you so much for keeping it NBS Television. You are watching the Media Roundtable with me, Tracy Kansime. Our discussion today will certainly be centered on the just concluded Local Council 1 elections. We have key conversations, big questions, and I'm joined by a distinguished panel that might just do justice to some of the questions you and I have, but also we're taking critical note of what they observed in these just concluded elections. I'm joined by Joel Mksa right here. With me, I have Angelo Izama as well as Derek Wandera. Gentlemen, you're very welcome to the Media Roundtable.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I have big questions, but we certainly want to find out who voted in the just concluded Local Council 1 elections. Derek, I want to start with you. Did you take time to register, to take part, to vote, to line up?
Thank you, Tracy. I actually did everything.
Yes,
I did everything. Can I tell you? I didn't just line up behind someone.
Okay, sir.
I went through the registration. I was at my village polling station and did everything. But like journalism calls, at some point I just found myself going to another polling station to find out how is it.
Did you first vote, line up, and then you went to?
You know, it's a long process because you have to reach there.
Yes.
One, they have to verify you within the register. If you're not like registered there, they have to identify that you're part of the village.
Which you had done, Derek. Did you vote?
No, I didn't.
Okay, we'll get into
I was doing journalism.
There we go. Angelo Izama, it was a public holiday. He did everything that was required apart from the lining up. What part of the process were you a part of?
I just observed.
You observed?
Yeah. I did not vote. To be honest, I haven't voted in a long time. Yes, that's the truth.
We'll get into, you want to share with us the why?
Yeah, it's the last time I truly participated in an election was the 2005 referendum. And at that time, I was convinced political parties should not return to Uganda at that point. As you know, we were on the north side and the president was with us for part of the journey, and then he ditched us and went to the yes side. I still think that, and as history has shown, you know, I cannot say that we made the right decision to bring back political parties in the way we have experienced them.
So there's a bit of election trauma there, and over a period of time, you've decided to stay out of this entire process.
Yeah. Joel, I still think, just for the record, that if we could get to a point where we could do a reset, you know, 2 million political jobs for a country our size is just insane. Yeah.
Insane, being the choice of words here. Joel Mukisa, I want to find out if the local council won elections 8 years later. Did you take part in this one?
No, I didn't.
He did part of the process. He did not conclude the process. He observed. What was your part in this?
Well, I didn't because I didn't find reason to. I was not assuaged. My fears were not assuaged. I was fearing conflict with my neighbors. Given the fact that these local council elections are so close to us as opposed to the abstract MP and,
the
things of that sort. But most importantly, I did not find need to engage. And those who engaged, I don't think they're any better than I am. Yes.
Well, gentlemen, you certainly had your reasons for doing exactly what you did. The local council won elections had about 56 billion shillings allocated to this particular process. We last had that this particular election about 8 years ago, and the conversation is in terms of the voter turnout. Let's speak about what that speaks to, because in the elections, the MP, the presidential, we did point out voter apathy. It's not what we experienced. What could have driven Ugandans in droves to be a part of the majority of us here did not particularly take part in? Derek?
I believe that I think I want to concur with Angelo. There is so many people who believe political parties shouldn't be part of our conversation right now. Probably we entered into it like so early, and we do not know how to manage it that much. In the village elections, there were very, very few people who entered in it as independents, some of whom triumphed, others didn't, but the majority are the people who have been there. The LC ones who took to their seats in 1986 have been there forever. Until 2018, that's when there was the first election after 1986. And this is the second one. Now, the people who went through in 2018, there's a very big likelihood that they went through this time around. And you look at the roles of an LC1 in and of itself, and you see that it has nothing to do with political party, with which party you subscribe to, with whatever. One, it has to do with age. An LC1 is a village court. An LC2 is the appellant court. Now, what does the village court as an LC1 do? That I have issues in my family with my wife, and we want to try to resolve it. And if it's spreading out into the village, who is supposed to sit us down? It's supposed to be the LC1. If we've voted for an LC1 who is 18 years or 17 years or whatever, because there is no qualification in terms of age, there's no qualification in terms of papers. So anyone who is popular can go through. But there has to be that, qualifier, that you have to be an LC1. So if you are 18 years, you don't have even a girlfriend, and I'm having issues in my family as husband and wife, do I go to the LC1?
Who is 18 years old?
Who is 18 years. So everything has everything to do with, one, age.
Okay.
Two, experience and knowledge.
And nothing to do with political
It has nothing to do with political parties. There is so many people who think that in the village elections, like the LC1, let's just pull out of this NRM, NUP, and whatever. And again, it's very hard. It's going to be very hard for us to find ourselves that way if we still have political parties. And that's why I coincide with Angelo. Yeah, I think we entered into this political party conundrum quite early. Probably we didn't think deeply. Now it's coming to bite. When we begin...
I would agree with you, but I certainly have a different angle, because if you're looking at that, then would an independents have taken the majority of the scorecard? What we seemingly have, at least from preliminary results, is the NRM, and it had to do a lot with, I do not know if it's ideology at the grassroots level or it is indeed the mobilization strategy. But I want to certainly pick Angelo's sentiments in terms of the voter turnout and what we could attribute.
Let me just conclude on that. Seeing that the NRM had over 70,000 out of 71,000 villages triumph, it has nothing to do with NRM, to be honest with you. It has everything to do with the people that are believed in their villages. And those are the people they have just seen. They have seen them since 1986.
So they just coincidentally belong to the NRM?
They just coincidentally belong to, and some of them have subscribed. By the way, there are villages where incumbents did not go for the NRM card, but they went through. Not because they were for NRM, it's just that people believe in them. And that's what that vote should be about. It should be about people you believe in, people you've known, people you have confidence in that they can resolve issues at the village level.
Angela, let's pick your submission in terms of what Derek says. What would we attribute, one, the voter turnout to across villages, but also he does speak about it has nothing to do with the political affiliations that people have for the winners. What then would explain the NRM taking majority of the share?
The LC1 system, you know, was introduced by the movement. And I'm old enough to have maybe 10 or 11 when we were asked as young learners to come and observe how the system works. And it appropriated the traditional system of resolution of disputes. So those who became village leaders were already considered by the opinion of their neighbors to be trustworthy and capable. So it's a system that was very organic. Of course, the NRM, now 40 years later, is a brand. But I think what Derek said, that, you know, those who percolate to the top still tend to be the ones esteemed by the village as being most capable, as opposed to that they represent the ideology or agency of their political party. Of course, there are some villages, especially in urban constituencies, where NRM's brand has suffered, and therefore you see NUP, but again, that reflects the opinion, excuse me, of that village. Let me just put a caveat to what I said earlier about, you know, having last voted in 2005 seriously to retain the movement system. The LC1 elections for me has always been the most important rug in the way we do public governance, because, you know, like like all of you, we suffered with the abrupt, you know, National Cleaning Day. But I did go out to clean, and I ran into my LC1 chairman, who I hadn't seen in a long time, together with my neighbors. He phoned me cleaning a patch, actually. And then I asked him how it's going. And he said, well, there's been an overwhelming response by our village. You know, everyone came out, cleaned on their compounds outside. The border guys, who sometimes neighbors fear because, you know, of all the issues associated with security, they were the ones who were leading. You could talk to them. It was actually a very good 4 hours. The border guys had come out at 6. And so observing the interaction at that level, obviously, you know, a couple of days later, people feel a lot more community with their neighbors. And at that level, that's what really matters. If something happens in your neighborhood, he's the person you go to. If the overall public governance could connect in a real way to our problems, such as, you know, garbage collection, security, the state of our roads, water and electricity, it would make sense. The problem we have is that you have a very, very, very top-heavy system. Like I said, 2 million political jobs is just insane. So we have to wait. The last election was like 2018. We have to wait years for meaningful governance. And, you know, maybe Joel and others would observe, but in Uganda's electoral cycles, the most important ones, as you mentioned earlier, are local elections.
Yes.
You know, when NRM does its primaries, often the turnout is sometimes bigger than the general election. So Ugandans tend to vote twice, in a sense. One, to affirm this other thing that they call public government, and then, or before that, to affirm local government. And then if you think about the trends, voters are able to punish bad actors. Like Elias here is a new MP, and he ran twice, but the attrition rate for incumbents is very high. It's higher when you come to lower levels, because voters feel able to just express their displeasure. What has not changed, obviously, are the people at the top.
Well, you do make very interesting submissions. I want to speak about, again, I'll tell you about my impression of the voter turnout. I still want to understand from the gentleman, Elias, many thanks for joining us on the Media Roundtable. And I want to pick your observation from the just concluded local council elections, from where you voted, the voter turnout itself. What would you allude that to, especially because the previous conversation we had did speak to voter apathy being something that, you know, the Electoral Commission has to really work out. You know, sensitization was not done. Yet with just 56 billion, that voter turnout speaks to a totally different outcome. What would you attribute that to?
Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. Where I voted from, the voter turnout was high. People were coming to, I don't know if it was higher actually than it was in the general election. In some places maybe, but what I noticed is, actually someone made a very interesting comment saying, you see, we vote for presidential candidates who don't know that we exist. They don't know me by face or name, and then that is supposed to be a secret ballot. Then I'm supposed to choose between my neighbors. I have 3 village mates, out of whom I have to pick one to become the LC1 chairperson. And then I'm supposed to reveal my choice. So you have a problem where you have 3 people, like for instance, where I was supposed to vote from, I didn't vote, I abstained. Because all the 3 people, one of them is my uncle, and he has been the LC chairperson for 28 years now. He inherited, if I could say, because he was the vice chairperson.
Inherited the stamp.
The chairperson died, and now this one. He came, then he got re-elected in 2005. So there was that problem. I saw that in my area. Many people choosing not to pick. For me, of course, I was in a precarious situation. You have 3 people, all of them were very active in my election and were all my ardent supporters. So now, in whose line should I stand? And then there are other people. You find now, this one is my relative, that one is my friend, and so that caused a bit of a problem. But that said, there was a lot of enthusiasm. I don't know why it was very difficult this time. The LC elections elicited a lot of interest. the candidates themselves spent so much money. And I mean, from where I sit, I could hear it. I mean, 169 villages, every candidate calling to say if there is any support here, and saying, but now this is a village election. Everyone knows everyone else. And these people can pick and choose from the lot that is running, depending on how they feel they can serve them. So it was sadly a mirror image of the national politics, which is extremely contested and highly monetized. And I think that is not how an LC1 election should be like.
All right. Joel, if we're to speak about something that he brings to the spotlight, which is the monetization of our politics. Now, we've seen it on the grand stage, presidential, the members of parliament. Here we go. The trickle-down effect is that we have chairpersons that are willing to spend. I don't want to say more than they earn, but you want to also think ahead in terms of why this sudden interest in monetizing it to that level. There are actually videos that are circulating online of a line that is receiving 5,000 for any of the persons in the line. How far gone is the democratic process?
I think that the monetization of politics, the idea that people are getting money, is democracy itself. Democracy for me is ruled by money. I don't know any place where democracy exists and money has not taken center stage. In America, everyone worships money, which would be the heartland for people who think about democracy. It would be the heartland. Money is taken seriously there. So I think as democratic competition increases, money obviously increases. And the fact that there's little to public service we can do, voters hold those who seek those positions to account by asking them for quick cash. Because even some of the people who are competing for LC chairperson, it's not due to their public spiritedness, but rather to how much they expect to make from land sales and things like that. So they expect to make about, although actually I don't think that the law provides for LC chairpersons to be getting this money, but the perception on ground is that the LC person is going to be making these tons of money. So how do the voters hold them to account? Actually, for me, this money being taking center stage in Ugandan politics could actually be a reflection of deepening democracy. As democracies deepen, money takes center stage. No, Tracy, you look surprised, but for me, that's how I really understand democracy. Democracy is ruled by money. Yes. So surely, for me, there are no surprises.
There are no surprises. In fact, you'd think perhaps the local council have been left out. Well, that's a conversation we certainly want to get back into. You could see the shaking heads on this panel in... maybe they do not think of that entirely as the way to go. We're now taking a short break. When we come back, these conversations continue on the Media Roundtable.
This is not just a run. This is a movement with purpose. Join us on 30th August 2026 at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds for the Cancer Run 2026. Starting at 6 a.m. Also taking place simultaneously in other districts across Uganda for the completion of the One-Stop Cancer Center at Nsambya Hospital. Registration is only 30,000 Ugandan shillings online using Gonza Pay. Gates are available at all Centenary Bank branches, Capital Shoppers outlets, Bread House branches, the Cancer Run office on Zimwa Road, Muyenga, the Rotary Uganda office at Nick Building, and Rotary clubs across the country. The Rotary Cancer Run 2026 is organized in partnership with the Parliament of Uganda, Centenary Bank, Crystal Water, and Next Media Group.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments. Don't wait. Visit the Suzuki showroom today or call 0800-211-033 to get started.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Dinga like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mu mutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, endungu ya kusabula. We gonna do free of fire, free of fire, free of fire.
Kumulembe kuna abakozi bakyayambala ebintu ebyo bisambala bannannyini makolero zi kampuni abakozi mubafunire uniforms eziri ku mulembe okuva mu Jude Color Solutions banyirire bafulume mu material ne design ebiriko ate nga kuliko n'akabonero ka kampuni yo olwo business ogiba abantu mu maaso bagimanye tosubwa campaign eno omulamu akugamba nti stand out mu uniform yo ne Jude Color Solutions bali ku Prime Complex ku Johnson Street shop number C24 esimu noti 7772 mwenda wamune ku www.judecolorsolutions.com.
Well, you are watching the Media Roundtable with me, Tracy Kansime on set. I'm joined by Angelo Izama, Derek Wandera, Joel Mkisa, and Elias Muchibi. And we're getting into the conversation of the LC1 test. And the question is, has grassroots democracy come back to life? Interesting insights from the panelists so far. And we did close the last segment with questions on Joel's submission into what democracy truly is. But away from that, we also had, if we're looking at the LC1 test, let's look at the organizer, the Electoral Commission. And it has had, quite the scorecard thus far. So we want to get into how just well it fared on the LC1 test 8 years later with the supplementary budget pass of about 56 billion. How did we cope in that particular regard? Angelo, LC1 and the Electoral Commission scorecard.
I go back to what Elias was saying, where contestation is very high, such as the presidential election. There's what accountants call creative accounting by the Electoral Commission. I think everyone accepts that that tends to be the case. Mm-hmm. It becomes harder and harder to read the public mood and mind. So, for example, if you ask the question, did Yoweri Museveni, who emerged with a sizable majority in the last election, how much of that truly represents a legitimate mandate? If you look at the numbers over time, and you're an honest observer, which I consider that I am, it's a tricky question. And I mean, he obviously won, but whether or not that represents the kind of overwhelming mandate, popular mandate, is questionable. I remember the 2006 election, and I was a working journalist at the time. sat on my desk, did what I was doing. I got interrupted by Charles Mangosha, who said, let's go to the street. The Electoral Commission was not far away from the monitor. But by the time we got to the area around there, it was almost being overrun by crowds. And these were Besigye supporters. He had just returned at the time. And that election, if you speak to the average Reform Agenda FDC person, they felt that Dr. Besigye had truly won. What we could observe, of course, we're in an urban setting, was this overwhelming desire for change. But the numbers did come out. There are stories, of course, all of us did not ever write about what that clever accounting looked like. So you come lower and lower, and the Electoral Commission can afford to be more honest. And to your point, 56 billion, I think, buys you a lot more honesty than how much do we spend in a national election?
About 1.3 trillion.
there you go. But I'll just return to my earlier point that the movement system that I supported and I was close to, I always felt reflected representation much more honestly, without the burden of all these political party stuff. Fast forward so many years, ideology is largely out the door. Cynical people like my brother here talk about democracy in transactional terms.
Transactional.
You can see that the idea of public spiritedness, that you actually, honest leadership, servant leadership, all these things are out. And younger Ugandans like Joel really do see things as being purely transactional. Now, if you're the Electoral Commission, you're superintending over essentially accounting problems, should you really be blamed that, the money that you're given, leads to this kind of weird results from time to time? I do not know, Tracy.
Well, Derek, you were talking about the test on the Electoral Commission. We had incidences where, one, we had a voters register, villagers or the people in the village taking stock of who should be in that register with the guidance of the Electoral Commission. Alongside that, we also had the verification exercise that should have been done prior to the D-Day. Now, on the D-Day, it happens to be in places where, one, you have a very densely populated area still going through verification. You have electoral officials that arrive late, materials that arrive late. You also have challengers verifying which voter slip they should be using. Now, the conversation is, if you're looking at the Electoral Commission, were they prepared? Did they underestimate this? Or is it, part of the process?
So our laws provide for what a village should look like in terms of numbers. They envisage about 50 to 70 households, and maybe 5,000 to 1,000 persons. And the laws say if the numbers actually shoot higher than that, that village should be split, which is why we've seen that the number of our villages have kept growing. I think in the last election, in the previous election, 2021, we had about 68,000. Right now, we have 71,000 thereabout. And this comes during the demarcation of administrative positions, which are, like it says, 2 point something million administrative areas. And those are the elective areas that where elections are supposed to take place. I know villages that have over 2,000 people, and by the laws, looking at our laws, that village should be divided, should be split. But I also know that there are villages that have less than 500 that means that doesn't even qualify to be one, to be called a village. Democracy is like human growth. It takes baby steps, begins crawling, begins, taking that one step, second, and stuff like that. I don't know where we are as Uganda, but we certainly are a growing democracy. There are countries that have maybe outgrown baby steps, and they are now, moving. And in the break, I told you we should just first go back to our SST class in P5, P6, and define what democracy is. A thing that I think my brother Joel needs to partake of. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it has everything to do with representation, like Angelo said. And if we go away from that, then we lose the entire conversation. So looking at what our laws provide for and where we are as a country in terms of acceptance of what democracy is, I think we have a very, very long way to go as a country. We have a very long way to go. And in that, then it comes even our election managers, the Electoral Commission. Were they prepared or not prepared? I think they have everything to do with preparation.
We've postponed this election for quite some time.
For so many times. And the last interface I had with the Electoral Commission chairperson, I asked him the question that, for instance, the Women Council's election was postponed under abnormal circumstances, to be honest. One, they came out, the people who form, who sit, because unlike the LC ones, the Women Council elections happen from village and it goes growing up national level.
Yes.
Now, those that sit at the national level, one day they just woke up and said, our term was disrupted by COVID. We did not get time to sit in our seats because of COVID. And the Electoral Commission listened to that. And to be honest, if there is anything like that, it has to go through
a process.
A process where there's a statutory, that's supposed to be established from Parliament, which never happened. And the other way is to revise the law, to have an amendment, probably extending their term in office. Nothing ever happened. Now, from the time, because that election was supposed to happen, I think in 2018, I think in 2020, which didn't happen. Now, those people were in their positions for more than 7 years. And yet, it's supposed to be 4 years for the women councils. It's supposed to be 4 years. They were in office for 7 years. No explanation whatsoever. And the last time I asked the chairman, is this country appreciating what they have taken in as democracy? Or are we just being there? You get. And if such a thing happened at the national level of a presidency, which is actually bound to happen by the mere fact that it happens at the lower level. So I think we need to accept what we've taken in as democracy, and let's try to practice it in as hard terms as it is. And the moment we begin appreciating it as being transactional, like Joel tries to put it, then we lose the mark, we lose the path.
Arias, I want to bring you in here. The conversation around the preparations, like we've said, we've really postponed this election time and time again. But in terms of the voter turnout, it does also speak to the confidence perhaps they have in the lining up method. Because if there is a secret ballot and you have a hard time convincing people to show up or go through the entire process, and then you have this lining up method and people really turn up, does that speak to the confidence people have in the system we're using rather than the one we perhaps would think is the ideal situation? Or is it this Chinochafe, this is ours, we need to take part in this? Because there are arguments from analysts and observers that we need to reform and get away from this lining up system. It is more divisive, they argue, than anything we've seen before if we're pushing for democracy. Where do we lie? Where should the country go? Pro-reform, or do we stick to a method people seem to be okay showing up for?
I'm not sure that more people turned up where that happened just because it was for lining up. It's because of the importance the people attached to the LC1 elections.
Is it not a transparency issue that we see we can line up, we count ourselves, if we are unhappy, we repeat this process, rather than what the ballot will decide when we're not there? I know places where people will tell you there was no transparency in the LC1 election, where they'll tell you the person with the shortest line was declared winner. Sadly, 2 days ago, I attended the funeral of a young man I knew who was killed in the process. They got him from the village next to mine, and he was supposed to help as a marshal somewhere in Gomba. Somebody was running, and he needed people to help him. He felt he had that most of the village mates supported him, but that his supposed victory was about to be tampered with. So he invited people to come and help. Then they beat up these guys, and one or two, I'm not sure whether the second death actually happened, but I attended the funeral of one. That was at a village level. So it has nothing to do with whether they were lining up, even if it had been a secret ballot. Because here, people are voting for people they know, and the LC1 chairperson, I'm talking about chairperson, they are important. Actually, we hardly talk about councils. One thing I have noticed is that the councils hardly work. You rarely find people who will tell you that I took my issue to the LC1 chairperson. Ideally, I think they should even be reporting to the secretary. The secretary then records the matter and then informs the chairman, who will then invite the council to come and discuss, mediate, do whatever they need to do about the matter. But usually what has happened is that the LC1 chairpersons, then most of them turned this thing into their own kiosk. He has the stamp, he will choose. I have met some people who have told me the LC1 chairperson refused. This person bought a kibanja from the neighbor or whoever. The chairperson doesn't like them enough, so they even refuse to sign on their papers. And so there are a lot of those things. People now are saying, we need to get this person who is going to act in our favor. And the existence of the LC1 chairperson affects them very often than the MP or even the president. So this is, it's about proximity. It's about the fact that these people live the experience of the LC1 chairperson. That is important. And you've been asking whether the EC actually did a good job. It was very difficult. How do you do it? I don't know. Maybe it was a good idea. They said, now you have to generate a new register for
for the village, away from what we used at the polling stations, that in itself had its own problems. You'd see people across the country. I've been following, but I also saw some in my neighborhood, where in the generation of the register, if I know that Angelo, you see how he's looking at me, he's not likely to vote for me, we are enemies.
From this panel, you would know who should be voting for you.
No, that was just an example for illustration. What then happens, because I have leverage with the people registering, I ask that his name is left out. So you found many people turning up.
As the incumbent, you had that power. I do not feel...
You don't have to be the incumbent. You just have to be that person who has your way with the people doing the job. And the venerable judge sitting at the Electoral Commission won't know what's happening. This is happening at the village. The registrar will now choose and pick who to include in the register. So you'd find a crowd, people turning up, we know where you live and whatever, but you are not on the register. You won't vote. That was a cause of trouble in many places.
Well, Elias, you do raise pertinent questions. And Joel, with those submissions, is it time for us to pack up this process called lining up? Because one, we've registered loss of life. And that should be the ultimate price for anything. Especially if you're talking about democracy, that's a little extreme. Let's speak about, is it time for us to pack up? Are we ready? 71,214 villages is what we have. Chances are, with the population growth that he's talking about, a village these days takes less than a couple of years to get to 1,000 people, which only means that by the next cycle, next 5 years, it will not be 71,214 villages. It will be more. And are we ready to bear that cost? Are we even ready? Because getting this money alone was a very long walk. Is it time to pack up the system?
I don't want to use mathematics for lives, but Arias has said we lost one life. We lose way much more lives in the general elections. Do you also suggest that we should pack up? Do you think we should back up? But what I mean, even generally, the violence that has been meted out is not comparable to the violence that's meted out in the general elections. Do you think we should back up? But most fundamentally, maybe the question we should raise is a question whether these elections are in any way important at all. From the general elections down, what does the MP do? Why do we have 529 MPs? I mean, what's the importance of this quote unquote representation in peasant societies? Because these are very peasant societies, and you can hear the things people are voting according to their clan, people are voting to, I mean, the all kind of sentiment. And fundamentally is, why is this important for the people of Uganda to take part in? Do they feel represented, and what has that representation done? I was asking Angela here in the break that in Dubai, the emirs are not elected, but they are accountable to their people. And they have transformed that country and that society. I mean, in places where democracy is, I mean, by going by Transparency International standards, I don't think Rwanda is the ideal democracy, but I find the government of Rwanda much more accountable than maybe the government of Uganda where we elect, or much more accountable than maybe the government of Kenya. So in that sense, do we need this quote unquote democracy that Wandera talks about, and therefore what's its purpose? What should it serve? If we can get other means.
There are elections in Rwanda.
What I mean, I said by Transparency International standards of ideal democracy. I have not heard of elections in Saudi Arabia in a hot minute. I don't know whether the government of Saudi Arabia is not serving its people. And I'm not saying that these examples should...
I don't think we're a kingdom either.
Yes, what I'm saying, we shouldn't be a kingdom, but what I'm saying is, what have you gotten out of it?
Disputed. I said the question of whether or not we are feudally inclined is
debatable.
It's debatable. I have read articles, including by some of our friends.
Yes.
Eliasa may offer a different opinion, but the question of whether or not we are defaulted to monarchic settings has been, there's a lot of ink that has been spilled on this subject.
Yeah. So we spent 1.3 trillion in the last general election. When we got out of this studio, the person who runs a kiosk, what has that helped them? What has that democracy? I mean, even if it took place in the most ideal circumstances, there was no shooting, there was no bribery. I mean, what would that change their lives? Mm-hmm. How would that be important? For me, those are very fundamental questions, especially democracy in places and societies where poverty is very prevalent.
This week, actually, 29th of this month, what was that, day before yesterday? The Africa Youth Survey was launched. It's a survey of attitudes of young people across several African countries. And one of the results was this skepticism that Joel expresses, that most young people were not really against democracy, but they are retreating from a democracy because it didn't deliver on the things that mattered the most. Jobs, job security, that sort of thing. And they're looking for a lot more efficiency to judge the quality of their governments. And the so-called illiberal areas in the world, such as China, by whatever standards, received major endorsement in terms of their influence on the continent. So there is obviously, in this current generation,
a shift,
towards not so much the form of government, but the quality of it.
Of service delivery they get.
I can tell you for sure that I know that to a common man, an LC1 is the most important person
than their MP.
Than even Eliasa is not known in his village. But the LC1.
Strays.
But the LC1.
Yes.
You get.
Eliasa is looking at you
like good. Like in my village, you will find very many people my age.
Yes.
And they have never even thought of seeing the president. Not even on TV, because in my village,
TV is scarce.
TV is scarce. They have never even thought of seeing him on TV. But they are LC1. They are very sure that when they are going to get a job somewhere, they are going to go for the stamp. The LC1 has to endorse, has to give you a letter, even getting the national ID. So, when you were asking earlier why the turnout was this huge, it's because of how important, and I think Eliasa brought it well, how important this election was and is. Unfortunately, our government actually thinks that it should be the most marginalized, the least important.
Yet
we're taking it for granted about these numbers. I don't think we can certify the numbers. You know, the thing about this lining up, people appear to be so many because you're seeing them in bulk at one point in time. And the difference with the general election is that someone votes and goes away.
But you also need to line up to vote.
We've always seen the numbers in terms of how many people have
turned up at the
polling station.
You can go with the Electoral Commission.
And verify.
The eyes are taken.
We will be taking a very short break. Media Roundtable returns. We're taking stock of the just concluded LC1 elections. We return shortly.
Remember the songs that made you sing, the moments that made you dance, the voice that captured a generation. Now, Grace Nachimera is back on stage. Join us for the Power of Grace Live Concert, a spectacular evening celebrating the music, the memories, the journey, and the incredible voice that has inspired audiences for years. Friday, 11th September 2026 at Kampala Serena Hotel.
Early bird tickets 130,000 shillings, ordinary 150,000 shillings, and tables 3 million shillings. The Power of Grace concert is sponsored by
Sometimes escape begins above the clouds, where peace waits beneath the trees. Here, nature invites you to breathe, to reconnect, to feel alive again. Where warm welcomes feel as natural as the forest around you. A sanctuary designed for comfort. And moments made to flow effortlessly. Forest Resort Louise, where nature welcomes you home.
The problem is the foundation.
You know the kind of cement I'm using in this foundation? I guarantee you even my grandchildren will come and find this house.
You buy your buy today and get the job done. Strong, reliable, available at hardware shops countrywide.
MTN voice bundle. Load. Hey. Hello, Mama. Hey, it is me, your son, Opio. Hey, now, Mama, listen to me. MTN has the offer. Yes, it has the offer. You load from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Now, they have free MTN to MTN minutes. And those minutes are there all day. So you load, you'll thank me later.
Load an MTN voice bundle between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and get 3 free MTN to MTN minutes valid all day. Dial *100 *21 hash and get your free minutes bully daily. Free your fire with free minutes from MTN. Together, our connection is unstoppable. MTN.
Did you know? Brought to you by
Fake spare parts can be deceiving. They seem cheaper, they seem good enough, they get you moving for now. But what you don't see is the hidden cost, damage to your car, endless repairs, wasted time off the road, and potential risk to lives. In the long run, fake parts cost you more. Choose genuine parts from any CFAO mobility location countrywide.
Did you know? Brought to you by
Welcome back. You are watching the Media Round Table. We have pertinent conversations we're delving into from local council elections. We want to quickly turn to the top job at the United Nations General Assembly, and that has quite piqued an interest from many Ugandans, especially because Ambassador Olara Otunu, a son of the soil, is contesting, and perhaps it could explain why this sudden generation of interest. Gentlemen, I want to pick your mind in terms of, one, the endorsement from the government, finally, Ambassador Olara Otunu picking up that, and whether or not that will change his prospects from what we've previously experienced with his races. So let's pick it up from here, and I want to certainly start with Joel, who is he's in a race. Currently, as of yesterday, there was a straw poll, and the outcomes from straw poll 1, he did pick 2 encourage, 5 discourage, 8 are yet to form an opinion on him. But in terms of encourage, we're not doing so well. Discourage, you have 5. No opinion are yet, so we are yet to, maybe those can turn, or they would call swing states in this particular state. But let's speak about the prospects of Ambassador Olaro Tunu in the race for UN's top job.
Too early to judge, but I also wanted to speak about the domestic politics that definitely informs his candidature.
Okay.
For some people, some skeptics, Olaro Tunu looks like a dead horse now, given the fact that he's 75, the oldest running for that job among them, and he's not at his peak as he was many years ago when the government of Uganda didn't endorse him. So questions abound. Why now? The NRM government has been in a sort of rapprochement with the political north as such, and Olaro Tunu and the Chief Justice Emeritus, Owinyi are the leading politicians in that area. So be that as it may, that endorsement comes within this general context, and what does it give the NRM? Because it also looks a bit rushed. One would say haphazard, because people have been campaigning for a hot minute. Internationally, why he stands chances is he has been part of the UN system. He was under secretary and is a man credentialed to that extent, not soiled at all. But also the candidates the Ambassador Olaro Tunu is running against are candidates who don't have the best standing with Israel. And you know how much Israel can do you at a global stage, based off most of their criticisms on the war in Gaza. And because Ambassador Olaro Tunu has been maybe, off the chart, he has not had a chance to express himself over the issues of Israel, and that's why he's likely to be favorable to Israel. Even generally, Ambassador Olaro Tunu is not critical of the international system as is. And there's some of us who, especially in the left, have many reservations of the international system as is, especially the mighty do as they please. So Ambassador Olaro Tunu is not opposed to that, and even you can find he's more of a human rights guy. Sorry to say, even you find that his criticism of the war in the north is not. It will not be a structured criticism of the violence as such, but it will be framed around the human rights framework, which is very popular around the UN and the neoliberal circles. So in that sense, I think that he has a good chance. I don't know how much lobbying Uganda will do, but definitely as Adoni Ayebare takes over in a week or so as Foreign Affairs Minister and fully in charge of that docket, he's been our ambassador to the UN and knowing the UN system. I hope Uganda really does some good work with lobbying for him.
Well, there you...
but it's really an uphill task. Yeah.
All right. Those are the prospects, chances right there. I think, Angelo, you have observed thus far the profile that we are presenting, and vis-a-vis what the other candidates have presented, where do we stand?
It's definitely a challenge. Yeah. I was waiting for the straw poll, but most predictions were that it would turn out the way it did. Funny enough, Olaro Tunu invented the straw poll method in 1980.
It is the
So if I was
method,
if he had been eliminated, I think the headlines would be something like Otunu eliminates Otunu or something like that.
Otunu versus Otunu.
Otunu eliminates. Yeah. When I spoke to him on Tuesday, before he came for the press conference, he was very realistic about the situation. He did say he had been out of the system for a long time.
Yes.
I told him he's a bit like Winston Churchill. Churchill had lost an election, went to the wilderness for like 10 years before he came and was re-elected, and then ran a very successful Second World War on behalf of the Allies. Given what is going on, so there are a couple of things. So I talked to him about the rotational method. The regions in the world kind of have an agreement to rotate who becomes Secretary General. And right now, I think it's the turn of the Latin American countries, so there's a lot more Latin American candidates.
You can see with the submissions the numbers.
And they have been on the campaign much longer. There is a region Eastern Europe have never had a Secretary General. I think they even did offer a candidate. So there is that. So, and then there is simply the power of veto of the Security Council.
Yes.
So it's in the past where a candidate is popular, maybe even gets the endorsement of most of the regions.
Yes.
The Security Council members can veto.
Veto.
Given that the world has changed fundamentally, everything that Joel has said about where the preference will lie, I think will come from the powers that be. And my guess is that they're going to go for a neutral candidate. Olara has got the disadvantage of being old and being a man, obviously, but that is also an advantage for certain big powers who are not about, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I won't even mention them. They might go for someone who is a neutral, tried and tested, unlikely to antagonize. And I read his statement. It was very carefully drafted. It avoided all the hot button issues. Look, I think that it is still too early. I'm waiting for the process to come to a conclusion. But obviously, I'm behind the Ugandan candidate. Yeah.
All right. If we're to just circle back to just the two African candidates here, Macky Sall has about 5 that actually 6 encouraged, 7 discouraged, 2 no opinion there. The conversations would also be, if we're to actually, because 31st of December still gives us some time to play lobby, advocate, and strategize about Olara Otunu's candidacy. Derek, what would you do differently within now and then to change these 8 to the encouraged side?
It's not surprising that the poll brings Otunu to those numbers, because Otunu comes into this race the least. Like he's the last to enter into the race.
Yeah.
So certainly there is everyone who is trying to study the environment in the room to try to make to make decisions and stuff like that. And like I was saying at the break, that I like opinion polls, because there is not any time that they've been cast in stone. They certainly sometimes reflect what exactly we are going to see, but many a time they miss out on the real on the real figure and what the real outcome. We smiled off when we said it's a woman who is leading in the poll during the break, and we know that we've not had any Secretary General who is a woman over time. I know for sure that there is going to be every lobbying around feminism, around gender in this race, with about 3-4 women. The first one who is leading is a woman. The second is a woman. Yeah, the second is a woman. Greenspan is leading. Rebecca Greenspan. I see the second is also a lady, and I think even the third. So there is going to be a gender card to be played. That's to be honest. But again, just the gender will not be good enough. And not every kind of lobbying will be just good enough. It will certainly rest in the hands of the powers that be. Olara has one slim chance, and that's the fact that all these competitors, apart from Olara, have a very strong opinion against the US and Israel. All of them. And probably he stands a chance because he has not been in saturation that his opinion has been, maybe he had his own opinion as a person and never got out there.
It's not on record.
It's not on record.
Yeah.
And that's the only small chance. Maybe not small, probably the most important in like looking at this deeply, probably the most important. And that's the chance that he has. there are so many people in this world that believe that age comes with wisdom. So him being the oldest could go anywhere, could be for him or against him. If you asked a typical Ugandan will tell you, no, I wouldn't vote for someone old, you know. But look at the US, the presidents that come in and stuff.
It's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But if we were to look at how
they voted for an 80-year-old in January.
So it's something that would either work for him in terms of age or against. But across the world, people actually believe that age comes with wisdom. So probably that's another either advantage or disadvantage. But the other that I mentioned earlier, the powers that be would certainly be a very decisive factor in this whole.
Well, I guess I want to bring into the conversation our foreign policy, our diplomatic strategies that we've applied across a long period of time, even with the veto powers that be that are coming into this, playing field with, cards up their sleeve. Uganda, over a period of time, I would imagine, either with their neutrality stance or, for playing safe for when it is a process. That diplomatic approach, that foreign policy approach to how we do things, is it time to, cash in onto that? Or will we have to use a different strategy even as we walk a very strategic playing field out here?
Olaru Tuni is a very sweet, pleasant personality, and as a journalist, I interacted with very many politicians, and if you gave me the opportunity to pick the next president of Uganda, I would place him very high up. And he has had the opportunity of withdrawing from whatever is happening here and elsewhere. And he has a very sharp mind. I'm sure in Gulu, when he was busy with his community work, he followed and had the opportunity to process what's going on. And so this thing came as a surprise to me that he still feels he has some more energy left. He can become UN Secretary General. How I wish, that comes to pass. Olara understands things and he always has unique perspectives. And the UN system is not new there. He was there at a very young age, 1981, I think. For a month, he was the president of the Security Council. So he knows the stuff. I don't know about our position in the UN system. The UN system has been weakening, I think. Multilateralism has been on the recede for many years. And you see what has been happening here. I think we have even been, our government has been de-emphasizing the role of the UN. I don't remember when the president, for instance, last went for the UN General Assembly. He tends to think that's not maybe as important. Then he'll send the vice president and whatever. Maybe many people are starting to think it is not as important. I don't know how, in which stead that would stand Olara's chances. But I've already told you everything. I know. I wish I had the leverage to make him UN Secretary General. And then, if he ever became the Secretary General, I think that would be very important for us as a country. We need someone of the profile of a UN Secretary General going into what many people want to talk about, the transition in Uganda. We expect a lot of quarrels, a lot of fallout. And if God ever gifted us a Secretary General from amongst us, maybe you'd then find he can invite people, Ugandans, and say, let's talk again. What's happening here and there and whatever and stuff. And we have had, they have talked about the regional issue and the rotation aspect. I don't know what that will do. But because I have no role in the election of the next Secretary General, I just keep praying that he's the man who comes up. But the other time I was thinking of the former Vice President Kazibwe's shot, can call it disastrous shot at taking over at the AU. And many people, some people who came out of there, of Addis, were telling me it was very shabbily handled. I don't know if this was hesitate, the decision for our government to endorse Olara very late. Was it a hesitant decision? Or if it was a matter of strategy? Because what I see from that straw poll doesn't seem to say much, because there's still a lot of time actually, and so many things can change. I hope against prayer that he did a lot of homework. There's a lot of stuff that happened, and then they looked at this bid as feasible and possible, and
okay,
went for it.
Interesting. Anything? Yes.
Maybe one thing that I probably left out is, Cotonou comes or enters this race when Uganda as a country has a very huge dent on especially the human rights, the way we've handled human rights in the country and things like that. When we've been, blacklisted and put among countries that are having wars, active wars. And, Uganda, we don't have a war, but we are on that list. So you just would never know whether this also would affect him in his candidature. But it's something that we need to ponder on, and probably if he makes it, these are some of the questions that he will be certainly asked as UN Secretary General, or these are some of the issues that he would certainly be fronting in terms of the way we've handled human rights. So it's a very tricky time.
A very tricky time, but before we close, I want to find out, there are observers who say this is a political mileage card for the National Resistance Movement, the endorsement, the timing of it. What could have changed now that previously was not the case? Is this just a political strategy for the National Resistance Movement? People reading too much into it? Angelo, what's your observance of the endorsement from government now?
Is this about the North, as Joel said?
Yes.
Obviously, yeah, obviously. Without a doubt. In 2005, as we were dealing with this whole shift from the movement to multi-party, I wrote an opinion piece in the Monitor that predicted that this path that the NRM was taking would end up being resolved with an alliance with the North and the UPC. I need to find that piece. This is like nearly 30 years ago now. Is it 30 years?
No, it can be 30.
It's like what? That's 25?
Like 25.
25 years ago. Yeah. Olarai is like as UPC as they come. And the last election, largely the North, what Joel described as a political North, has sort of, despite the history of violence, which Olara articulated very well, deeply, when he was, talking about the role of the NRA in the chaos, particularly in actually areas. It's not a rapprochement, as Joel said. There has been and is ongoing a full-scale reconciliation. I think the North has moved on, and given the sort of calculus for political power is about aligning regions, especially during elections, it is, how can I put it, Tracy? it is an inspired strategic move by the president, you know, to put forward a candidate who was one of the most critical voices of his role in the North for a position like this. It's also on brand because Comrade Museveni, as we say, is known for choosing a moment to reconcile with his arch enemies. So yes, it is. Of course, he's a politician, so there are political consequences of this. I haven't seen a campaign to say, oh, Northerners, such as myself, look, lo and behold, this is what's happening, but the symbolism is certainly strong. And Olara actually comes from, you know, when I spoke to him, it's like, oh, you know, I've been spending my time on Roko Pacho, which is this Choli community organization he spent 4 years building. And he says, I was happy to do all of that. But a community organizer, that is another credential that comes to it. It's like he's really essentially a grassroots politician now. And if you nominate someone like that, you're really saying, you know, come along with that constituency. I think it's going to be very popular with Northern politicians, certainly. Yeah.
No, interesting. Gentlemen, we are definitely privileged and humbled that you made time to be on the Media Roundtable this Friday. We've ended July. I do not know what your highlight has been for the month of July, but your parting shots on the Media Roundtable. I'll start with Honorable. What are your highlights for the month of July, and what do you look forward to as we
thank you. This is the 31st day of July, exactly 33 years ago.
When are you getting your first salary? That's what we want to know.
Our first salary? No, that one, we already ate it with our constituents. Yes. That's important, but even more importantly, today is 33 years since I'm using it for his information. Our king was, he ascended the throne of his forefathers at Nagalabi Buddo. So we are going to a total for
Thanksgiving.
For the Thanksgiving and whatever. To me, that is important. That's what we always look forward to in July, and everything else has happened. All good. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, Honorable, for joining us. Joel, what are your highlights for July? What do you look forward to as we enter the 8th month?
What's my highlight for July?
Yeah. So today is 31st. We're done.
I'll think about it.
Izama,
there we go. Parting shots as we enter.
I don't know. There are many things I'm involved in, but I guess the most important for me this year was the end of this Ebola outbreak. Because it's been a very dramatic year for me. You know, like I've been caught up in the chaos in the Middle East, moved up and down, came here, I'm stuck because of Ebola, and like most people, we cannot really move around the world. There's huge costs, like for us who are in the consulting business. You just look at the erosion of value, first from the oil prices, then tourism. You know, companies are struggling, and which means that those of us who advise companies are struggling. So I feel that I am hoping that July is the point at which we leave some of the bad stuff behind.
Okay, Derek, you conclude the show. Highlights and what perhaps we should look forward to as Ugandans as we head into, before you know it, it's September, October, November, December. I don't know if people are ready for that yet.
Yeah, Tracy, I think one of the most dramatic months for this year has been July, at least so far. Just yesterday, I saw over 3 or 4 internal adverts from DFCU, from Vision Group, and I think some other 3 other companies or 2 declaring it's been losses for them. Like, we've completed the financial year,
but it's losses.
But yeah, we've made losses. it's been replicated in at least the community within which I've lived, but also at individual levels. It's been a...
It's
with your bad news.
Yeah.
On that note, by the way, we should mention that even if we haven't said it on the show, but we are thinking about what's happening with Dr. Besige's trial. I mean, those are really dramatic scenes.
So
My
for me, and that's what I was coming to. Everything that's happening around Dr. Retired Colonel Kizza Besigye is a mirror of what the society is and the entire embodiment of what Ugandan governance and institutionalization of everything. So it's grim to me, and I feel we need to actually reflect a little bit deeper.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the Media Round Table. We've had quite the conversation. If you haven't been a part of it, go ahead, download Afro Mobile. You have the luxury of watching all of this. Again, my name is Tracy Kansime. A good morning.
Ready to kickstart your body goals? Look no further. Vine Fitness Gym has got you covered. Located in the heart of Bokoto, Vine Fitness is the state-of-the-art fitness center packed with everything you need to hit your body goals. From the cutting-edge cardio machines and strength training equipment to fully equipped functional training zones and relaxing areas, all designed to support your fitness and wellness journey. Looking to tone your body, build muscle? Our program includes expert strength training and even access to our steam bath. So what are you waiting for? Visit us today at Chirabo Complex, 3rd floor, Bukoto. Vine Fitness Gym, your body, your goal, your gym.
In Uganda currently, we have around 6 million PWDs. We realize that this is a group that is disadvantaged when it comes to access and use of ICTs. And certainly this was through the access and usage survey or study that was also conducted by UCC. What was recognized in this study is that there is low awareness of ICTs by these PWDs, and this is for the ICTs as well as the assistive technologies. It was also discovered that there is limited information about the people with disabilities. When it comes to information that could be used for planning purposes, it is really limited within the context of what is available.
Limited access to ICT and assistive technologies increases digital disparities, prompting UCOSAF's aim to promote digital inclusiveness for persons with disabilities. The ICT for Persons with Disabilities program ensures that all individuals regardless of their abilities, can benefit from the opportunities provided by digital technologies and have an improved quality of life.
August 2026 is here! And Yada for Life presents Mujatu Sinze 2026 Nsima Edition on Saturday 29th August 2026 at Imperial Royal Hotel with a lineup of heavenly voices and ministers. Are you grateful to God for what He has done and accomplished in your life? Do you have a reason to ultimately thank God for? Get your deluxe ticket for 30K, gold for 50K, platinum for 100K, and a table at 2 million. Doors open at 4 p.m. Buy your ticket at Unique Uniforms, Uganda House, and at House of Rest, former Fidodido. For bookings and reservations, call 0760-595-316 or 0708-766-536. Mujatu Sinze 2026 Nsima Edition, and proudly sponsored by Yuga Tunes, Afro Mobile, and Yuka TV, and NBS Music.
Too many ads? Expensive subscription? You deserve better. And artists, thousands of plays, but nothing to show for it. This ends now. Introducing Yuga Tunes, the new home of your favorite music on Afro Mobile. Listeners, stream your favorite songs ad-free at no cost. Artists, earn from every stream. Withdraw your royalties anytime from as low as 20,000 Uganda shillings. This is music that pays off. This is music that belongs to you. Yuga Tunes, your sound, your stage, your reward.
The National Mosquito Net Distribution Campaign is back. No one should die of malaria in this era. It is your responsibility to chase malaria from your home. The good news is that the government of Uganda has once again started distribution of mosquito nets under the 5th Universal Coverage Campaign, also known as the Under the Net campaign. Under this exercise, 1 mosquito net will be distributed per 2 people in every household. A village health team member, a community health extension worker, also known as a CHU, and the LC1 chairperson will move house to house to register members of the household in preparation for receiving their mosquito nets. Do not lie back. Ensure that you register all your household members to receive a mosquito net. On the distribution date, move to your distribution point and receive your net. Mosquito nets protect you and your family members from infectious mosquito bites that lead to malaria. Ensure that you receive the net, hang the net, and sleep under the net every night.
Remember the songs that made you sing, the moments that made you dance, the voice that captured a generation. Now, Grace Nachimera is back on stage. Join us for the Power of Grace Live Concert, a spectacular evening celebrating the music, the memories, the journey, and the incredible voice that has inspired audiences for years. Friday, 11th September 2026 at Kampala Serena Hotel. Early bird tickets 130,000 shillings, ordinary 150,000 shillings, and tables 3 million shillings. The Power of Grace Concert is sponsored by
Looking for a household cleaner that truly delivers? Meet Appo, the antibacterial cleaning powder for bathrooms and surfaces. Appo is formulated for 3-dimensional cleaning. It's a scouring agent that scrubs off dirt and stains, a germicide that kills 99.9% of household germs, and it works with water to wash everything away, leaving your bathrooms and ceramics hygienic and sparkling clean. Keep up hygiene standards without breaking the budget. Switch to Appo today. Appo is available at supermarkets and convenience stores countrywide. Influence is more than followers, it's impact. At Next Influencer, we connect brands with the right voices through a thorough vetting and discovery process. We onboard influencers with hands-on workshops that build skills, unlock real opportunities, and fuel professional growth. Brands find the perfect match, influencers get dignified jobs, and audiences experience authentic stories. This is where influence becomes value. Next Influencer. Create, discover, connect, influence.
Alright everybody, how are you doing? Today I'm going to be taking you on the streets of Kampala and beyond for a street flavorful but redefining it and giving it my culinary treats. I can't wait for you to see it. Let's see it. Deep fried, crispy Rolex. Let's make this together, guys. Alright, so once in a lifetime deep fried chapati experience like you've never had before. So let's find out what we need. So we need the eggs for two things. One, to make the omelette. Number two, to have the egg wash for the breading. So we need some eggs, pepper, salt, some onions, and some dip that we need later on. Then some cabbage, carrots, tomatoes, whatever else you have in your pantry. Just cut a variety of vegetables to go. And then your chapati could be leftover chapati, or it could be fresh chapati from any of your favorite stock center. But I have a chapati recipe for you guys, so no stress, guys. So let's get started with this fella. I'm going to use my chopsticks to just beat this together. Some onions, a pinch of salt, some little bit of black pepper. I'll go in with my cabbage. Okay, just a little bit of everything. So like I'd said, as my egg cooks away, like I'd said, we're going to crack some extra eggs. As this is cooking, just swirl and lift it up and then go in there, turn that guy. The chapati gets on top. All right, so after maybe a minute or two, you just want to lift it up and put it on your chopping board or a clean worktop. All right, so pick up my sauce, which is this. I'm going to use this as the dip later, but I also want to have that extra sauce in the
Reggae live in concert at Kolo Airstrip. Namusambu August. Chefuro Chigenda Kubera. Get ready for the biggest Ugandan show. Mustalia. Kampala, Waguru Matara, screen, stage, ne sound, Nabiona, the Phenom Records, sing him to Aresatwe, Arebadingo Consamomo, Emituare Vili, Jem Tuaretan, Arebadingo Zekumomo, Emituare Sat, a mess about Mkaga million Billy, Yamatomana million Satu, Niga Kamunya Mumkakatano, Kamyan Billy Zero, or Tunga Tikatia, Reggie, Yata, Hawasan Uganda Namani, Hatinia Tabambara, Hababsheni, Higara, Yantonde, Habevanda, Rukunjiri, Mujem Remo, one you not stare. Not Honda! No shot wagon with Yanni Yamate. Heavy Shagara, heavy Shabba stacking. Koranye, yeah! Corona Strip, Musambu August, Bita Gekedwa, Abitex Promotions.
Nice?
You wanna make tasty food that says, you wanna do that doesn't still, Cantaling and no Yanai, Sika de Buto one night, Nailo Akroya, Sika de Buto one night,
Cook better, sell better with modern healthy cholesterol-free cooking oil and modern non-sticky wheat flour. Modern Yenyabo.
This year's maiden grand gospel show is the Mascot Live in Very Well concert. On the 14th of August 2026, it's going to be the Mascot Live, bounding us with this great gospel music at the Ndere Cultural Center. Entrance is 20K and 50K VIP. At Temple goes for 2 million. Get Get your ticket today from carrytickets.com. For more information, call 0702-832-568. Sponsored by NBS Music, Sanyuka Afromobile, Jeff Godwin, Newman Foods, QC Restaurant, Pal Automotives, Crown Japan Katwe, and Stream Road Safaris.
Are you planning an event? Think of X Events. For the best photography and videography of all kinds, we believe that every moment is worth capturing. Whether Kwanjula, weddings, Kuhinjira, bringing out the culture and glamour. And of course, a professional team that has mastered the art of the game and Progear with elegance. X Events is located along Rubaga Road on Access Building opposite Hotel Sojavalo. X Events, capturing your precious moments.
Billions are invested, promises are made, projects are launched. But what happens after the ribbon is cut? Are public fans delivering results? Are communities seeing the impact? Every Sunday, NBS Television follows the money, audits the promises, and examines the projects shaping Uganda with facts, evidence, and voices from the ground. Fixing Uganda, auditing progress, demanding accountability. Every Sunday, only on NBS Television.
On Saturday, August 15, 2026, Radio Wala invites you to celebrate India's Independence Day with a monumental broadcast you cannot afford to miss. The Saturday Wala show proudly welcomes a truly distinguished guest, His Excellency Upender Singh Rawat, the High Commissioner of India to Uganda. Join the phenomenal hosting crew, RJ Raj, RJ Amitesh, Mr. Paresh Mehta, and RJ Tarun for an exclusive deep dive conversation on India's incredible journey of independence and the flourishing diplomatic, cultural, and economic ties between India and Uganda. Tune in live on Saturday, August 15th, 2026, starting 10 a.m. on Radio Wala, and watch it on NBS Live, exclusively on Afro Mobile app to be a part of this conversation. Don't just hear about history, be a part of it.
Hey, hey, travelers! Are you a family gearing up for that big vacation, a hustler working abroad coming home, or your squad chasing sunsets and passport stamps? It's time you lock in. Say goodbye to long airport queues, shocking roaming bills, and the stress of hunting for local SIM cards, because now you can travel like a local. Stay connected in over 180 countries. Just scan, tap, and boom! Instant data the moment you reach your destination. Get your Rogue Travel eSIM today at travel.roguetelcom.co.ug. Contact us on 020-500-123.
A very good morning. You are watching Breakfast Meeting with me, Tracy Kansime, and today's a particularly very interesting conversation with our friends from Time Corp. Now, you're probably wondering what Time Corp is all about. Well, sit back, because by the end of this conversation, you will know what Time Corp is, have an appreciation for it, and perhaps use some of their services. I am joined by Okrut Sadiq, who is the head of operations, head of security operations at Time Corp Security. Many thanks for joining us, Sadiq.
Thank you, Liz.
Well, quite a lot, and I think I speak for many others when I say, can we get into what TimeCorp is about, what it does, and what your area of focus is?
TimeCorp is a security company registered under the Uganda business law. We started operating in 2010. Basically, we ventured into security, professional guarding, and then personal, provide security for personnel. That's the VVIP. We have the K9 dog section. Then we do general security with us guarding facilities and then people's properties, and briefly that's security. In general, that's what TimeCorp deals with.
With security, efficiency is not something that should be taken lightly. So let's speak about operational efficiency in TimeCorp and how you ensure that is achieved, especially for your clients.
TimeCorp, being a professional security company, we always like to do it the TimeCorp way and professionally. Efficiency always in security starts with the planning. So when you plan, and then you know actually what you're looking for, and then it goes recruitment, and then how do you deploy, and then how deployment plan, and then the supervision of it, and then the follow-ups you do, and the response towards the emergency cases that come up or incidences. So when you put all that together, and then coupled with now crime actually is evolving, so the use of technology on the part of security. So that brings up the efficiency into security, mostly in TimeCorp. Because with us, it's always about planning, and then we get the right recruits for the plan of what we really want to give out for the clients, and then the training part of it, because it's actually very broad. Because we do go too far as customer care, because we deal with clients. So it's actually client tailored best. So going to the needs of the client.
You do speak about security passionately, and the conversation is, for many Ugandans who might be thinking, this is an expensive venture, but also perhaps it's easier if I go to the village, pick a cousin or a distant relative and bring them in my home. They will be able to manage the security details of my home or a school or an entity. What case would you make for many Ugandans watching who might not have an appreciation of what institutions such as TimeCorp have to offer?
Actually, people had a misconception of security, and most when it comes to guards. So when they looked at the private guards, they would think that you couldn't pick anybody who wants actually to get part of a job, because it's a job, and then you get into security. But now, crime has evolved. Crime has evolved because it's so dynamic. It's changing faces. Crime has changed faces. So you need somebody who is professional, who knows when crime changes, actually also change the kind of training and we tailor it to the current situation. Like these aspects of terrorism. So you have to have a guy who can read between the lines and know that this is best for this. Be it a home. Somebody might have a home somewhere, but then when the structures come, so you should be having a guide who can read the environment, assess it, and tell you the dangers that might come with the coming up environment within your vicinity.
You did mention something that many Ugandans and myself are wondering. When you say crime is evolving, Sadiq, can you just paint a picture of some of the trends that security institutions such as TimeCorp are observing over a period of time?
Let's take an example. People never knew that you can actually have a camera at home, a CCTV camera, and then as long as you have it, that's for security purposes. But then people can hack into your camera and use it actually to monitor you. So
while I was thinking it's safe to have a camera, someone can actually hack into the camera.
Yes, that's why you have our control rooms with us. So whenever when we have a client that have a CCTV camera, we always link it to our control rooms. So whenever it is tempered on, so we always see that there's a hacker trying to get into the premise of the client. So that's part of it. The other thing is when people never thought maybe the gadgets actually we use. Like a laptop, I can walk in here with a laptop, but actually when it's a bomb, dressed in the casing of a laptop, and then just, so you need to have somebody who can actually read it and say, but these features don't actually seem to be a laptop. So this might be a bomb.
The sophistication
has
certainly changed.
Yes.
When you speak about incidents such as these, where crime has evolved, sophistication of gadgets and all these things and weapons are changing, it also does speak to you having the right team, the right staff, to effectively make sure that crime is made away with. But the conversation is, when we speak about training and recruitment, how do you go about that entire process to make sure we have the right people in the right offices, in the right homes, even with the evolving landscape of crime?
We always have the standards that we always put across. When you want to come to join security, there are things we look at into the personality of the person. So that goes education is part of it, and then the character, your background, because you're guiding somebody. So we do the background check for somebody before actually coming to the training ground. So we have to make sure that this person has gone to a certain level of education we set as time cop. And then your background, we go through your areas and then your local leaders, we gather that information. And then from there, we find out, is this person actually trainable based on the character? So because we know what we want to impart in somebody. So when we bring you into our training facility, so we actually train people best, because we have those who do VVIP trainings, basically for guiding the VVIPs. We have those who do for the combat. That's even why you see that our uniforms at times differ. And then we have those who are, if it's a supervisor, then they have taken to those specific roles. Though there is a cross-cutting course that all do, that is customer care, because you're dealing with humans, and then anger management.
Yes, which should actually be a priority, especially if you have staff that are handling the kind of weapons they handle. Staff is good and probably the training is good, but you have just mentioned that sophistication in terms of, the concealment of, weapons and all these very dangerous, objects has also evolved. So it begs the question, in your training, in your work as time cop, do you maximize the use of technology? Do you deploy the use of technology? And if so, what kind of advancements have we had to do at time cop?
Yeah, we do. Because if we are training personnel for monitoring CCTV cameras, we need somebody actually has done IT and who is trainable as IT, IT evolves. So somebody who can actually be trained and cope up as things move on. Nevertheless, most of our guard force, because the purpose of security is to deter, you observe and then prevent it before it happens. So that's why most of the time you say someone tells you, stops you from a distance. So when they see, they just want to observe first. So they look at it, look at what you're carrying actually as a gadget, and then they start reading based on the trainings they have. Can this be this? At times they simply tell you that just put it over the other side. So that's when you find that you just place it there, somebody's just watching from a distance, but you have somebody actually guiding, searching you. So this one is actually watching all the movements of at the point they can say, no, stop. That doesn't seem to be a normal cell phone. It's a bit sophisticated, so they will need to check it thoroughly. So we all do such a trainings.
It's one thing to, speak so eloquently and so well about the systems there. I would then ask, do you measure performance? What do you use to measure efficiency, performance? And of course, that for many audience members that would want to know, how do you rate your performance?
With security, performance is always it starts with the training, actually. If you want to have the performance or the efficiency, somebody should have that you're going to monitor, because we do evaluate it. So when you have a guard, we do assessments, because security is not one size fits all. The way I'm going to guard facility A is quite different the way I'm going to guard facility B. So it's always tailored to get efficiency. So we do the site assessments, and then after that, we get the right person to deploy there, and then we do the monitoring of it, and then the reporting. Because reporting in security is key. There's nothing we overlook. Something very small, actually. We report and then respond. So the level of the response to an incident shows the efficiency or professionalism that somebody is having, and then how do they report, and then the supervision. Yeah. So because the moment you observe, the moment how do you report that? So it shows that this person is up to the task. Anything that comes up is capable to, and then the response time when an incident happens.
Sadiq, you mentioned about planning and preparations, and that is all okay if you are going by the book and you predetermined or have an idea of what a scenario could present. Let's speak about emergencies and security scenarios or security threats that might be in that moment, not prior planned for. How do you respond as Time Corp in moments such as these?
Our Time Corp, we do work with sister security companies. So we have limits that we don't go beyond, because in security, one gives another based on the current situation. So the moment maybe that takes us now, how do we conceal these crime scenes? The moment there is an incident, the first thing the guard has to do, our security has to do, is to seal off the place, so that the crime scene is not contaminated. And then from there, that's now you actually, after doing that, they report, and then we start engaging sister institutions of security. Then we know, does the police has to come in? Is it all about fire brigade to come in? So because what comes first in security is life. So the moment he sees that you have to save life first, and then you prevent the crime scene not to get contaminated, and then you communicate immediately, and then that's when our response teams are always alert. They have to chip in and then guide. See that I think we need the police right here, and then we need the fire brigade here. So that's.
It is a well-detailed plan, that's for sure. There are also instances, especially from the client's perspective, where there is an issue with perhaps the security person that you have assigned, or a situation that needs perhaps escalation. Take me through what Time Corp really goes through in terms of coordination with the clients, but also there are instances where the escalation has to go through maybe like you said, other security agencies. What is the arrangement there between Time Corp and the arrangement, the coordination between the client and the sister security agencies?
Whenever we are to deploy, because before we do the deployment plan, we assess the security risks entailed to the facility we're going to guard. And then we make a report to guide the client. Though at times the client may tell you, but I think it's too much. But at least they are aware. Even though they tell you, but I think I should go by this product, but you say, no, maybe you need an extra camera, because there are black points that we need. You need more extra lights. But they say, no, this is too much. But so when he is in the know of the situation that might happen, it becomes easier for them even to respond. Because whenever we assign, we get sites, the client, we assign them particular supervisors that they're always in contact with them. Anything small, they're always in the know, and they know who to contact first person. So that person actually is the one that reports immediately for the reaction team if it's close at the place. So they get the incident, and then they'll determine that I think this needs the police. So the moment we move in as Time Corp, we are already in contact with the other sister agencies. So we assess and tell them, I think it's now time for you to move in and take over or work together.
Sadiq, When you speak about staff, especially as head of operations, we have also registered, and with other, security agencies or, security institutions, that you might have staff and staff acts a different way, or the person you have deployed has some mannerisms or has some practices that particularly concern a client. Let's speak about the recruitment process in relation to background checks, especially because these are people that are interacting with family members. These are people that are interacting with children in some of the, the schools. What reassurances does TimeCorp give in terms of the staff that you are deploying to be on top of not just their game, but also in terms of behavior, whether that is on the mentor level, on the mental capacities, on capabilities, or even just sometimes them reacting maybe to situations, maybe they've been exposed to traumatic, stressful incidents. How do you ensure that all of that is handled on the TimeCorp's end to ensure that clients have a seamless service with the people you deploy?
That's a very nice question. Human beings, we always get temper and get angered. So the security personnel are not different. So, but the beauty is when during the training, we take them through anger management. That takes them down. If you get a scenario, an incident, where do you report to first? Because there's that relationship between you and the client. Maybe this client is frustrating, but you have to know that it's our client. So it's not your client. So anything you have to report to us. You have a supervisor, and actually every site we have what we call a site in charge, somebody who's superior to the personnel that all around. So they always have somebody that oversees them. That being said, also at times when we don't actually deploy guards, we're always having morning briefings and what we call the debrief. So you happen to talk to them in the morning, you give them what we call site or post instructions, and then you know what kind of frustration they get when they're always there. So you always you monitor, you and evaluate. So what do you encounter here? What frustrates you during the work? So what do you need us to help you? So because it's us to talk to the client. So we always beat in the morning, we shall have that information, record it, beat in the afternoon when they are leaving. So we record what took place during the afternoon, and then we engage the client.
You've been in this field for quite some time. The conversations are with every business or with every initiative. There are challenges within a sector that you perhaps have observed from the perspective of you who is offering the service, from perhaps the client's angle or perspective. What are some of the challenges that you interface with as you do your work at TimeCorp?
It's a two-way traffic. The challenge is mostly with clients. Let me start with the client side. At times when you tell a client, because people don't know that actually crime evolves and changes faces. So the moment you bring me here, I start offering security services. Within a period of 5 times, maybe there was no road around, there was no bar around. So, but these business facilities are now on board. So when you tell a client that, I think we should either beef up the security or let's add more security lights. So at times with them, they look at a business perspective and forget that it is actually, it's about all their lives. So you find that you have to stress, but provide the best of what you can do, because he's a client and your duty is to protect them. So you overstretch, you go extra mile. At least you do even service that you're not even paid for, but you need your client to be safe. That's the main target of the TimeCorp. You protect them until they come to know that I think I should go with this. So that's part of the challenge with the clients. And then our personnel also, it's all about humanity.
Yes.
They are all human. So others get angry, get frustrations, but the only key thing is how do you manage them? That's when we always have these refresher courses, because when somebody works for quite a certain period of time, you have to boost their capacity. So we have capacity development workshops for them. and then fresher courses based on the scenarios that happen. So when you gather the records, you see what scenarios, what incidents are actually happening a lot. So you tailor a training or a workshop based on the information that you get on the ground.
Sadiq, as we come to the conclusion of our conversation, what are the future prospects looking like at TimeCorp? Any innovations that perhaps you are already aligning for the clients at TimeCorp?
We are actually planning, because security being evolving and people being stretched. Because when security risks evolve and become too much, you need that thorough follow-up. So we are actually now beefing up our control rooms so that at least each client we have, though they are supervised and monitored on the ground, but we have a backup that always somebody watching, overseeing what's taking place. So we are actually doing that. And then we are actually now tailoring our courses based on the needs of our clients because the needs always keep on changing. Though we always do these fresher courses, but then what does the client want? Because ours is client-based. So our need always to offer the best. So the customer care. So what do our clients actually need? And then we tailor towards that.
Lastly, as we end this discussion, how does someone get TimeCorp on board for either an institution or a home? How do they get the services of TimeCorp?
Actually, with TimeCorp, you can walk in. Our offices, we have headquarters in Roa. We then also have at Entebbe. We have one also at Naguru. So you can visit either of our offices or talk to either of our supervisors. You'll see them, can approach a guy, they'll show the supervisor, and then you get our contacts, and then you reach out to us. You can reach us on phone, then we shall come, because the first thing we need to, when you need a service, security will actually have to reach you out and then assess and then advise you, and then we have you on board.
It has been a pleasure having you, Okrut Sadiq, who is the head of operations at TimeCorp. That brings us to the end of this segment of Breakfast Meeting. Good morning.
Oh no, mumanyi! King Michael, yo! Hatusa kuserena hotel mukampala ngalumu August mushoja atumye King Michael Coronation Concert shinze mtwalo 15 emeze y'abantu 8 ya milioni 3. King Michael agenda kuba endongo lukoba hit after hit abirikidwa kabayimbi ba best be bonna hono dancehall star muja mumwerabireko alina stamina alina momentum alina style ngalumu August kuserena hotel hategekedwa Supremacy Lounge orona wagirwa.
The parent is Tuliahewa Dixon. And the child is Tuliahewa Esther.
Kambera gwete kwa mchisha ngo ishe watu yahewa Esther wahangura school fees ngene na hateja shana amashemero kwagonka MTN momo eberewo mbeni nyegasta igana kaga ni 5 sta 8 0# kushashuro mwana school fees tokoma nyo muchisheri zagwisho wanje ninga nchaka ngwasa kuzo wawe mwebare munonga.
Gato mutino ku music wafo wobwangwa nadala kadongo kamu nokumugulira akatala ko mulembe aka digital Airtel Uganda ne Uganda Communications Commission bakutusako atakula bakunyoma gold is gold bakabi abaji kuba nga 3 mu July ku Sheraton Gardens wano mu Kampala Freddy Sebata Dani Mugula Matia Ruima Misusela Saga Mwenge Kakubirizi Wile Mukabya Masias Warukaga Freddy Sebale Jaladi Kiwewa Jigiri Kasiwa Kapo Hari Sanyu, Nabitaka, Betty Nabuya, Aisha Nachito, Bonamu, Hatakura Kunyoma, Hoping the Shingam Twalu Kumi, Vietnam Twala, Viata Mesa, a million is Satu. Gura ticket yo, or Kupaku Airtel money. For CBSF, Kupapa Sport, Kujot Color Solutions, Pakalasti Machinye. Not to Sheraton Hotel, Wanyeni, Sheraton Gardens, Satumoro July, Tutanika Sawe Moyakaunga, Yanyeni, Katikona Vera, Wagidwa, UCC, Rospom, Mavet, Afro Mobile, Nesanyuka TV,
Airtel.
Patoro de Vitekewa, Baluna Promotions. Connect Colorado Festival King Saha! King Saha Fusen Songa! King Saha Fusen King Saha! Katana Lumis and Colorado! Mutoneke Colorado Festival! Gakumina Anga Cinco Piramid Mukaga! You name it Colorado Airstrip! Hooking him to a baby Toiletano! And Mezam Kadam Santu! One way Yobutano! King Saha Ko! Yuka TV, NBS TV, NBS Music, Yuka Tunes, Capital FM Uganda, the beat from but now Uganda moody Chitabanga wo but clear process to Sako. I read Namatuvu, Atuse Mukapala Kuserena Hotel, Gabiri Murumu August, Mushoja Tomie, strong woman, life of Yelemi Twalukumi, Yapian Twalukumi Netanu Kuget, Adebadi Twalukumi, Atemeza, Yamilion is Satu, Ticket Zito Nivaku Passport, Kujot Color Solutions, Nakuserena Hotel, Wanyene, Honorary Namatuvi are singing Mutaraja, authentic Ugandan rhythms, and Kumaya Afro Pop, Egate Ngomayawan, Nechidongo, Honorary Afrima Award winner, Best Female Artist for East Africa Choreography, Yairin Namatovu, Screen, Stage, Namatara, Abiri Murumu August, Serena Hotel, Mwana Watunava Mwerekedeko, Fogo, Karepita Bi Mami Vijay, Be Strong Woman, because the centers at Chikazi, Tuagarabiana Biascoba, Bimadulo,
Joza centers, Wawereza Kusimu Zabade Chupulicheta, and where is it?
Wagidwa, KCB Bank, Newman Zabakolo Bumpachi, Victoria University, Euroform, Pepsi, Mount Caleb International School, Walura, Finiva Logistics, Afro Mobile, Nesanyuka TV.
A very good morning. In case you're just joining us, you are watching the breakfast meeting with me, Tracy Kansime. And this time, I am privileged to have conversations on the post-launch of what Yuga Tunes launched yesterday in partnership with MTN Uganda. That conversation, I am joined by Shadrach Savi, who is a team lead at Yuga Tunes. A very good morning. Many thanks for joining us and congratulations on you and the team.
Thank you so much, Tracy. This is a big milestone for not just Yuga Tunes or Next Media, but for the creative fraternity as a whole.
Many are wondering what we launched at Yuga Tunes. Kindly do share the details of that happened.
Yeah, so Tracy, yesterday saw in history the launch of CRBT, which is Call Ring Back Tunes. Now, Call Ring Back Tunes is that sound that replaces the normal beep when you call someone, you see? It's just that sometimes for us, the elites, we never do it, but when you go to the mass market, you know, and you're trying to call some of those relatives of yours, you discover, you hear songs like, yes, yeah. So,
and then immediately, you know, the conversation changes.
Yeah, it changes. So those are some of the consumers of the product that we launched, that sound that replaces the normal beep. So the person you're calling is the one who subscribes, and they subscribe, you know, with MTN 700 shillings. Yes.
Interesting that you do say that. The conversation is, yes, it was launched. Let us look at what yesterday's launch truly means for the creatives, for the economy in itself, but also for your clients, really.
So what this is, it's a new dawn for the creatives because this one, it increases their income base. You see, Yuga Tunes started with a cardinal role to make the creative sector bankable, to make sure that an artist, you know, has some sort of bankability, that when they walk into a room, when they walk into a financial institution, they have financial documents or records that back them up to show that they're actually earning. And this was a wake-up call in COVID because they were used to, you know, the mundane way of earning, which is stage. And now COVID was a wake-up call. So it comes, and now because government is really invested in the creative sector, you know, through Operation Wealth Creation, and you know, the chief coordinator, General Salim Saleh, tasks, you know, a few people, one of them being our boss, King Karisa, to come up with initiatives and see how can artists earn even when they are off stage. Now, luckily, the Western world was doing that before us. You know, artists would earn even when they die. The estate for Michael Jackson, for Whitney Houston, they continue to get royalties. So that is. So we benchmarked that and we said, why can't we do a digital store? Why can't we do, you know, something that artists can earn even when they are sleeping? Hence Yuga Tunes. So we are the country's premier platform for digital music monetization. So we started now to find other ways. So what we do is streaming. So artists can earn 10 shillings per stream on Yuga Tunes. Now, Yuga Tunes is the music store in Afro Mobile. So when you go to Afro Mobile, you'll find Yuga Tunes in there, and you'll find all your Ugandan music. Kadongo Kamu, which is our signature sound, is also in there. So artists can earn there, but then also too, we distribute music to Spotify, to Apple Music, to, you know, Boomplay and all those. And artists cannot go there directly. Why? Because these stores receive over 100,000 songs every day. So what they do is they, you know, get capable people who are called distributors in there. And now those guys deliver music from the artists to those stores. You have to have the infrastructure to check copyright, ownership, to check quality standards, and we built that as Yuga Tunes. So we do that delivery also. So those guys pay us, and then we're able to pay the creatives. Now, what we launched yesterday is now CRBT. Previously, it's South Africans that were doing it, and Ugandan artists were not having visibility to their earnings. All they would do is send you a report and say, this is what you've been able to earn. So we came to correct some of those things, and now we have been able to do that technology. Now they can be able to have visibility of their income, and you know, it's way better. And now they can withdraw instantly. It's no longer quarterly like how it was. So we've done corrections for what has been, you know, available. So for the artists, one, we've increased their, you know, income base, but then also two, we've given them visibility to their earnings. So they can be able to see, you know. But now for government, this means that now you have a more stable creative economy, you know, an economy also that they can track.
And more streamlined.
Yeah, more streamlined, you know. And government has, Tracy, been doing a good job since 2020 till date. Government has really been deliberate at organizing, you know, the creative sector, from structures, the federations, and all those things. You know, someone who has been in the industry for a while, I'm seeing it take form. You know, regardless of what people think, I'm seeing it take shape. That if you want to get maybe 1,000 artists, you can go maybe to Federation and find them there. If you want a market, walk to Yuga Tunes, and then there is music there. And then, you know, if you want, you know, collections on bars and what, go to UPRS. And now they've developed the copyright management system. So the industry really is being streamlined, and what this means to the industry is that there's more stability and more streamlining.
That's a very wonderful development, Shadrach. We've had a conversation. Now we boil down to MTN caller tunes.
Yes.
And can you explain that to those watching us, what that is?
So for MTN subscribers, what that means is that when you want people to listen to a certain sort of content, and it's not restricted to music, by the way. It can be a jingle, it can be a Quran, it can be a Bible verse, whatever kind of content it is, provided you have copyright ownership on it, you can submit it to Yuga Tunes, and then Yuga Tunes is able to send it to MTN. And now a subscriber can be able to say, I want, whenever they call me, to listen to this song. So that is what we have been able to put in place. That is what CRBT is about, and specifically with MTN. It's live now. So usually it is standard, it's *170#, and then now you start to get into some of those artists, and then they have specific codes in there.
All right. And if we're to really speak to what the partnership truly, you know, boils down to, why is this partnership with MTN very important?
So MTN is the biggest network, and you know, they are really big. But then also, what we do is we take off I wouldn't want to call it a burden, but the responsibility, because the artists are so many. On YouGetTunes alone, we have 5,000 artists, you know. So MTN comes with its platform and its millions of users, you know, with the expertise. So everyone is doing what they know best. And YouGetTunes comes now with a pool of artists and content. So we manage the content for MTN, they manage the subscriber and the platform, and then the two of us now can be able to make some money for artists, but then also for government.
So why should you know, the artists certainly look out for YouGetTunes or be part of YouGetTunes in this movement?
I think it's the only place to be because one, YouGetTunes, first of all, we take the trouble to explain to you what this is, you know, and it's very good to be in light of what you're doing as regards money, you know. So we explain to you what CRBT is, how to even earn more. Because it's not enough that your music has been put to MTN. That music has to be marketed. And YouGetTunes, that's our strength, you know, the fact that we come with the entire Next Media ecosystem. So you're much better off working with YouGetTunes because you have marketing resources, but then also you have knowledge resources because we teach you the business of music. And that's what we're going to be doing with UCC and Ministry of Gender. We're going to be going around the country teaching artists how they can earn more with CRBT and what CRBT really is. Because for it, it's easy, Tracy. If you come from like Arua, you know, Arua is like an economy of its own. Just have 1,000 fans there and all of them have subscribed to your caller tune. You're okay. Every month, you're okay. You're okay. You have more than 10 million shillings every month. You're much better than you and me who come to the office. So that's why CRBT is better. And that's why artists should come to us. Because we give them the knowledge, we give them access to the technology, but then also we are able, you know, to guide them through their career journey. Yes.
Shadrach, if we're to really get into, you know, the creatives, how then do you onboard them? How can an artist out there, creative, get onboarded? Yeah.
So we have the number one point of engagement is our website, crbtunes.yougetunes.com. That is the first way anyone, anywhere in the country can be able to get on. So what happens is you don't automatically get on. That's like a form you fill to apply because there's copyright involved. Someone might say, I'm Tracy, and you're not Tracy. Yes. Yeah, because we have a lot of fake people. They are saying they are chameleon and they are not. Yes. Exactly. So now we do the due diligence. So the due diligence is actually done physically. You know, that one is not automated. It's done physically. We need to know this is actually Tracy. So when that happens now, we'll send you an email or an invite now to create a password, which password now gives you access to the dashboard. And now with the dashboard, you can be able to start ingesting music. But even when you ingest the music, we have what we call an audio recognition system that checks for one, AI. We're not doing AI music yet. And then two, copyright. You may say the song is yours and it's not yours. So our system would be able to check that, okay, this song doesn't belong to Tracy, it belongs to Flower. Or this person copied a little bit of Tracy, so we see how, is it a sample? So we go deep in those, you know, copyright cases. So that's what happens. And then after, you know, a couple of days now, we can send you an email and say, the song you submitted is now live. And now slowly you'll start to see people who have subscribed for it on the dashboard and the analytics. Yes.
You know, before we get into what next at, you know, YouGetTunes, I also want to understand in terms of the sensitization drives that are happening, how are you making sure that the conversations are beyond the launch and that, you know, creatives across the country understand what CRBTs are, what YouGetTunes is all about. What kind of drives are we looking at there?
So Tracy, it's important for the country to note that the income that comes from the creative sector can be compared to mining. It's huge income. It is huge income. We're at the same rate as mining. So government is not oblivious or is not blind to that. Government has seen it and they have chosen to partner with people like us to make sure that, you know, we actually even increase that income more as people get more jobs, you see. So what we have done with the Ministry of Gender and UCC is that we're going to start September to start going to different districts. And because when people talk about the music industry or the creative sector, they think about Kampala. They talk about just a few artists whom they know and then that's it. But no, that's not true. And you know, the West has shown us, we have like 5 national stars from the West, you see. And we were in the North the other day. beautiful music. So what government has done is they have been able to, partner up with us. So we're going to be going the entire country. It's going to actually be a project for 2 years. We've planned that properly with Ministry of Gender and UCC. For 2 years, we're going to be teaching artists the business of music, what Yuga Tunes is, what CRBT is, how they can improve their lives, because we're no longer just testing out a pilot.
You've rolled out.
We've rolled out. Artists are earning money even right now. As far as Moyo, Gulu, we see from distribution, people click. Because, Tracy, it's as simple as 20,000 shillings. You make 20,000 shillings, then you can be able to get it on your mobile money instantly. Yes. Wow. So we want to be able to make sure that these artists actually get the entire picture and they can change their livelihoods and then also be able to pay the people they work with. Tracy, one artist can create 5 jobs, 6 jobs. Spice Diana, now as big as she is, or Shiba, those ones have like groups of 15, like on their team. They have a social media manager, they have a content guy who just shoots, they have a hair person, they have a makeup person, they have a fashion designer, they have a brand person, they have like 15 guys.
That's before we get into the videos.
Exactly, before the videos, because those ones are like once in a month.
Yes.
But the ones that are always with them every day. You see? So it's really, really important that, we build them because they come with jobs. Yes.
Shadrach, there are challenges in every sector with every initiative, and I've said this, there are challenges. Yes. Even as we talk about copyright and some of these complicated words to some of the creatives out there, what are some of the biggest challenges you continue to see among creatives, even as you deal with the sector? So, Tracy, the entertainment or creative sector is peculiar in a way that you don't go to school for this thing. It's God-given, it's talent. So people are self-made. That's a huge problem. So, and when people are self-made, it means there is no artist development. So this person is not fully developed as a business. Maybe they were singing in their bathroom, then people are like, by the way, you sing very well. You go viral today. Viral, and then, maybe you're in a church choir, Sunday school, before you know it, now you're on TikTok, and now you're doing covers, and now someone's like, oh, let me put you, go to studio, and you're a superstar. So there's not been artist development. And those are some of the things that we want to address. There's no artist development. And every time there's no artist development, things like professionalism slip through the cracks. And now you have a huge star who is not professional. So what starts to happen is now brands do not affiliate with our, sector. They start to, kind of like push us away, until like 10 years ago, government wasn't really understanding what we're up to. They didn't want to, But now, when we develop properly, people go to school maybe until senior 6 or campus, and then now they come as, a professional person now. It's a whole business, So that's the number one problem, the fact that, people are self-made. And the fact that, that creates a huge problem of lack of professionalism. But now with these tours, we want to kind of sanitize, that problem. Okay, and then lastly, as I let you go, Shadrach, let's speak about what the future looks like at Yuga Tunes and what should creatives be looking forward to. The future holds a lot, it holds a lot because now, government and all the stakeholders have understood and also come to appreciate our ability when it comes to digital monetization, So we're finding ways of how can artists even earn more. You see, how can artists earn more? And then also we want to improve on all our marketing strategies, How do we market artists? How do we make sure that Ugandan music is in people's faces? But then also the quality of Ugandan music, how can it, skyrocket so that it can compete internationally? But then also, in terms of what next after you join us and, you show you're a serious person, we have the next Creator Members Circle. Now, this one is, supposed to help artists to kind of pre-fund them, because we already have your music. We know you make $1,000 a month. So if you have a project that needs $50,000, we know you can pay it in 2 years. So that's what is next, the next Creators Members Circle. Oh, wow. Quite a lot. The future looks bright. When you say the future is bright? Very bright, yes. Absolutely. Many thanks, Shadrach Sami, for joining us. He is the team lead at Yuga Tunes. Go ahead, check it out. You certainly will thank us later. Now, from the breakfast meeting, we are bringing this to a close. And as we do that, we want to head to Parliament for the committee sessions where ministry officials from the Ministry of Energy are interfacing with the Public Accounts Committee, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, to answer to queries that were from the Auditor General's report for the financial year 2024-2025. We head to Parliament for these proceedings.
Ruweru.
I said where in Mubende.
Oh. I hear just see coverage areas. Kisojo, TC.
Kisojo?
Nyangabo, TC.
Bunyangabo ni Mubende?
Nyangabo. NYA.
There's a problem there. Move to the next district.
Nyangabo.
That is not in Mubende.
And Mitiana. Bukanaga village.
Yeah.
This one is difficult.
Chikubanchima
village. We have Omuntura village.
Omuntura in Mitiana.
Yes.
Okay, move.
We have Kabare. We have one scheme. Nyacharo village. We have Chiboga, one scheme. Tuamata. We have Kamwenge. Vigodi village. We have Ivanda.
So those are the ones that were the 4 lots that were completed. Now, which are the 2 lots that stalled? The 2 lots that stalled.
Chair, this what I'm reading is for 4 lots, not 8 lots. I am on 3.6.3. Yeah, we can go there.
So what you've been reading is of 4.
Yes.
That is the 75 work in progress.
Yeah.
Yes. This is work in progress.
Yeah.
You had only limited. You're only limited with the funding. Honorable. Contractors faced COVID. Yet during COVID, they said that the contractors can continue to work because of COVID. Okay, tell us who are the contractors that got COVID?
There was Global Komoro.
Global
Komoro.
Global Komoro.
And Mutiko.
And Mutiko. Okay. Is that when has been, it was not COVID.
On Saturday, August 15, 2026, Radio Wala invites you to celebrate India's Independence Day with a monumental broadcast you cannot afford to miss. The Saturday Wala show proudly welcomes a truly distinguished guest, His Excellency Upender Singh Rawat, the High Commissioner of India to Uganda. Join the phenomenal hosting crew, RJ Raj, RJ Amitesh, Mr. Paresh Mehta, and RJ Tarun for an exclusive deep dive conversation on India's incredible journey of independence and the flourishing diplomatic, cultural, and economic ties between India and Uganda. Tune in live on Saturday, August 15th, 2026, starting 10 a.m. on Radio Wala, and watch it on NBS Live, exclusively on Afro Mobile app to be a part of this conversation. Don't just hear about history, be a part of it.
Oh,
yangu neza kuba yigwirwe twatandikira kushemererwa jishuka ngo shigatirwa beshunguzi ba gospel bakunda abaratere nanga tukashashanoka ukutaha muri mitwa leta VIP mitwaro 20 debos a miliyoni 3 hamwe na nita neza bamazireyo kumanya bukitiraho terazura umushanje 8 50 59 nkaga ninda bishagikirwe.
I'm by the name Joyce Auma. I am a social worker. We know very well that PWDs, most of them do not go to school. Most of us, we are at the poverty line. So we are trained how to handle computers in Microsoft Word, how to use a smartphone, how to use apps that is inside it, how to send messages and emails, and then how to connect ourselves with the digital economy, more especially business. Most of us, PWDs, our work is full of handwork. Without the knowledge, we will not have outside marketing. And for us, we know that there's software that always we PWDs who are crying that we are left behind, we don't know anything. Typing, you will not even know what to do. You were trained on how you are going to install it in your computers, so that all of you should use it properly. And we cannot bridge the gap today, but bit by bit make what? A bundle.
Bad character ikoze kutusako Khalifa agalaga Nanyini ngato, nanyini kaviri, nanyini nyimba Chameleon wa generation eno Munasanga festival muchibira nkobe bila mukaga Muaga sikube bila mukaga Elweza Forest Resort Jango Boot Edition Jango ngayamba denga tuya aganaga Eno festival ya fefena Kwingene mitwale biri Yepi mitwale tano Walwe meze ya kakade Wakatane milione sato Ne aba bende milioni 5 Abano kwingene 15 Aba sekenre mutualo Aberekedwa kabayimbi bona Niba comedians Munasanga festival muchibira Forest Resort Elweza Luboaga City.
Join renowned Pan-African Bishop Joshua Maponga Marara III from Zimbabwe as the keynote speaker at the 9th Pan-African Pyramid Global Awards 2026 and 12th anniversary dinner to be held on the 29th of August 2026 at Munyonyo Speak Resort from 2 p.m. The theme is honoring the humanitarian legacy of Comrade Rajiv Ruparelia. Book your dinner card now on 0757 342 317 or 0782 342 317. This is the true awakening of African Renaissance. Come, let's rekindle our roots. Africa, don't agonize, organize. Powered by
now you've made the ruling.
No, I'm not making the ruling.
You've made the ruling. Then
okay.
Tell us how we are not proceeding right.
Yes, I want to tell you how I feel we are not proceeding right. The engineer in front of us told us these contractors are on ground and the line they are working. When you challenged him, he says, I sought the on ground. So, Chair, are we proceeding right with an engineer who is reading us a document? We think he is authentic and he owns it. He has researched or is sure of what he's saying when he's not sure. Because I expected him to stand his ground and say this contractor is on ground. Now, should we go on to believe what he's telling us? Surely, Chair.
Abdon, you know, that's a challenge. We actually not proceeding well. The reason why I asked the person from Kasese to cross-check with the Kasese The reason why I asked somebody from Rukunjiri to cross-check with Rukunjiri, the reason was simple, to say what you're saying is what is actually on ground. Now, is it, do we proceed to inform you now? Because it seems what you're reading that is not according to what is on ground. I'm giving you, that is my line. That is where I come from. I have been crying for that line, the one of Cassandra you're talking about, all along. PS have come to your office severally. There is no engineer I've not talked to about that line. Now, if you gave, the contractor was on ground last year in September, as you said. Now we are in August. That should have been work completed by now, because what was left was to put the transformers. Okay? What was left was to put the transformers and connections. Now, I want to inform you, the contractor is not on ground. And it looks like it is the same story from, I've seen Honorable Frederick raising up his hand, seems the same story. Now, Abdon, you're going to end there. Okay? Now, let me give you my members to tell you the stories. I'm also going to give them 20 minutes. Members, don't take too long. Tell them the story about power in your area. What is the situation? Abdon, take note. Sometimes you always ignore.
I do, by the way. I do, but
please take note.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to spend the entire day here on this.
Chair, if you allowed me, I would put the record straight. For instance, City Harvest is in Rukunjiri, and they are progressing well. They have planted poles. I am moving closely with the Honorable Minister. He can testify that City Harvest is in Rukunjiri.
Isn't that the land that goes to Renshama? Isn't that the line?
Confirm.
I've been there in Rukunjiri, and people were decrying.
Honorable Chair.
So let's move. I'm going to, Abdon, accept, I move to this side.
That's okay, Honorable.
Let me begin with the Honorable Kaima here.
180 of our rules of procedure. This committee is supposed to satisfy its entity, appraise to the purpose for which it was appropriated and supplied. Ministry of Energy calls for bids for contractors to execute works on its behalf. Contractors put in their bids willingly competitive, but it is disturbing that these contractors abandon their work along the way. This means that there are serious issues that these contractors face along with the supervising officers. And in this particular case, so Mr. Chair, I want to commend you when you mentioned that there is a lot of frustration on part of contractors, which we need also to look into. So my humble submission is that all those contractors who abandoned their works should be invited. We also hear from them so that we proceed from an informed point of view.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kaima. Honorable Alan, anything from your constituency?
Yes, Chair, I just want to the committee that in my constituency, we are not any different. Our poles were erected, we don't have lines. In fact, as you observed yesterday, some members didn't come back because of such kind of negligence. So, we, as a committee...
can you specifically talk about the areas?
Yeah, in Kihungia sub-county, Biso sub-county, Biso town council, they brought these cement poles. They put them, but they didn't put wires.
Wires.
So people don't have power. but there was an indication as if they are going to receive power. Now you can imagine the political pressure.
Abdul, can you respond to that? Buhunja, is it
Kihungia sub-county, Bulisa district, Biso sub-county.
And which other?
And the Biso, plus Ngwedo. There is Biso sub-county and Biso town council.
But
we even have Ngwedo where there is CPF. The CPF, for them, they have power, but the neighbors don't have power. Even the health center doesn't have power. Where the CPF staff go?
Abdul, 1 minute. Abdul, 1 minute. 1 minute. That's a quick one.
Yes.
The poles are there, concrete ones, no power.
Chair, you will appreciate that I have schemes.
So many.
Of 2,000 transformers.
Yes.
So I may not offhand.
Okay, now kindly take note.
Yes.
Let me move to Wanyama.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Mine is not different. Sanyabugo Central, that is in Busia district. I have 5 sub-counties, and the power extension, I think, should be at 20% in all the sub-counties. Largely, the power was moving up to the sub-county headquarters. Beyond that, and we have very key trading centers in every sub-county with very huge populations, business booming and all that. So people are saying, without power, actually let me tell you, without power, my coming back is almost not there. And I think for most majority of the members.
And you think Abdul cares whether I don't come back?
I know he doesn't care, but he's funded. He's funded. Let him do his work.
Okay.
We have areas with just poles planted, like he's mentioned. In my place also I have, like in Buluenge parish in the Buge sub-county. The poles have been there for years. I think over 5 years. But if it was wooden poles, they would have removed them and used them for cooking.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Thank you, Honour Chair. Honour Chair, I think at an appropriate time I will share with you and the clerk. Chair, the loan of ADB and the Exim Bank, you remember, Chair, this loan came on the floor in the 10th Parliament. And because we wanted power, we never debated. And with me here I have all the lines which were designed. And Madam P.S., I remember when Joanne and Flavia, those who are coming from Rare. Chair, I have 4 sub-counties which they surveyed, nothing took place. I've gone to Wegulo's place several times. So, no, Chair, with your indulgence, Chair, the sub-county is on record. Now, Anjofu sub-county, Busaba sub-county, Busaba town council, and Budumba.
The polls are there.
Nothing. They just went there.
That's why you said we are better, because you have the polls.
Chair, for you are better. And Chair, I want to end here.
Yes. Tell them you're PLU.
No, Chair, you are just talking. And Madam PS, PLOU is not a joking subject. The Chair and the other members can laugh, but technical officers laugh carefully. Because our people are crying. And indeed, Chair, you are helping us. So on that note, Madam PS and Commissioner,
not those sub-counties.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll give the details to you because they are already designed. The designs are already done.
Thank you.
The issue is implementation, and I beg to move, Chair, I'm escorting my Secretary General, Pielo. We are going to the Kabaka's Matikira. Okay. I'm one of the members, so allow me to leave. But Madam PS, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swaka.
Thank you very much.
Honorable members, let us move quickly. If we don't move quickly before we know it, these things are alive. You'll get a number of members of parliament who will join in to say things are in their respective constituencies, and you may not stop them. So move quickly.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Once again, I'm Chen Geoffrey, Member of Parliament for Kyoga North, Namolata District. 9 sub-counties. So in the 9 I have 2 sub-counties where the poles are there, wires installed, but for the last 4 years there's been no power. And then we have health centers, sub-counties and schools where there are others, like the health centers that needs transformer. There are other busy business centers that also need a transformer. When the president went to the district in 2025, he directed a certain date.
Have you mentioned the sub-counties?
The sub-counties are a Tam Town Council, a Tam Sub-County, Awelo Sub-County, Arochek, Akwon, and Aputi.
All those ones.
Yes, please.
They
so
all
my request is that if those other sub-counties where the poles are there, even the wires, if light power could be on it, that would be good. And then also the health centers.
Honorable moves systematically. You're saying there are sub-counties with poles, no wires.
There are sub-counties with poles and wires, but no power. For the last 4 years.
Which sub-counties are those?
Those are the Tam Town Council.
Tam Town Council?
A Tam Sub-County.
Tam Sub-County. They have poles, wires, no transformers.
No transformers, no power.
Very good.
And then we have another 2 sub-counties where we have the sub-county headquarters, the health center, and one of the busiest business center. And that one, even the president directed that the transformer be put and connection to the health center and the sub-county headquarters be done, but up to date. The team went from Ministry of Energy, but up to date, nothing has been done.
All right.
That one is Awelo or sub-counties.
Thank you, Honorable.
And then we have a Puti sub-county. That is even where I come from. There are wires 3-phase, but no transformers.
No transformer.
And people cannot connect. That one is a Puti and Akwon sub-counties. And then lastly, Arochek sub-county. There's poles, power, but we even wonder where they were now connecting. It just followed the main road and no connection. No one has connected.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Let's move to Tororo.
But Honorable Chair, maybe lastly, I would request if it is very difficult for the ministry to intervene in some areas, for instance, like health facility, where they need power. If you could guide me on where we can buy the transformers, then it would help our people. But if not, then we would be failing, because I'm aware in that same facility, the Vice President next month is going there. And it would be the same request.
The President. You've used a lot of time.
Thank you.
You've made your case. They've heard you. I would like to hear Abdon, at least if that health center can receive. There was a transformer project. I don't know whether it is still ongoing. Tororo.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I want to appreciate you for giving this matter time and for the colleagues who've raised these concerns. And this cuts across the country. And that is the beauty about this. However, Chair, I would also want to request you that at an appropriate time, we do an oversight visit to appreciate what is being said here with what is on the ground. Chair, my concern is, yes, we have contractors on the ground. The contractor, fortunately, who was contracted to do work in Itororo, C&J and his, planted poles. Poles are there, but he also dug pits across maybe what would be constituted as the scope. Those pits have caused accidents to the humans and also to the animals. In some places, people have had to recover those pits. But also, surprisingly, Chair, and I want PS to take this seriously, the scope was presented to the community during the community